Hallelujah. All right, Big Ox. Today we are starting on the lesson of Passover because we have Passover coming up this upcoming week. So hallelujah for the rest. Thankful for him allowing us to be within him and rest in him.
Right.
All right. So what is Passover? Passover is Pesach, which is from H6452, which is permission or exemption used only technically of Jewish Passover, the festival or the victim Passover offering, the biblical use, Passover sacrifice of Passover, an animal victim of Passover, or a festival of the Passover. Or Pesach, which is the primitive root, which means to hop, figuratively to skip or to spare, by implication to hesitate, also literally to limp, to dance, to halt, to become lame, to leap, or to pass over. All right, now the letters that make up Passover is the pay, and the pay is like the image of a mouth, words being spoken or open. The stomach is a hand on a staff, support, prop, turn aside, twisting, and protect. And the chet is the tent wall, the fence, the separation, the hedge, the chamber, or private. And in these letters of Passover, we could see even throughout the whole Passover, we could see Yahuwah's word come into play. We can see him speaking a word to Moshe from the burning bush on what he's going to do and who he is. We could see, him provide Moshe with the support that he needs. We could see him provide the children of Israel with the protection that they need. We can see him be their house of defense. He's the one who separates them, because the darkness was all throughout Egypt, not in Goshen. The frogs were in Egypt, not in Goshen. The bloody waters was in Egypt, not in Goshen. He separated us and placed a hedge about us, right? And it's crazy because even in the book of Job, Job had said to Yahuwah, haven't you placed a hedge about Job? A fence, a separation, a chamber, So it's crazy how Yahusha ends up being our chamber or our fence, or he's the door of the fence, and Yahuwah's
Right.
our fence or our habitation. All right. Let's see. I don't know, why is it not changing? Slide 4. Okay. So what is the history behind Passover? The history behind Passover, we're going to find out that it's about prophecy. Someone has a deceptive plot. The Most High word comes to play and comes to pass.
So
Then you have,
because
yes.
I call, she wants you to send her the link where she can join in.
Okay. All right. Give me 1 second. The warning, the promise, the signs, the plagues, and then you have liberation. All right. All right, so let's start with the prophecy. Let's go to Genesis 50, verse 24. All right.
Want to read it? Anybody?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm trying to find Kalia's number.
Okay. And Joseph and Yusuf said unto his brethren, I die, and Elohim will surely visit you, and bring you out of this land, unto the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. And and Joseph took an oath of the children of Yasharal, saying, Elohim will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from hence.
That's
Keep
25.
going?
Stop right there. No, it was only
Okay.
24. So
Okay.
in 24, as we could see that Joseph has given us a prophetic word that that the God of our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, will surely come and visit you. And not only will they surely come and visit you, but also he will come and get you up out of the land.
Right.
Right. So that's the prophecy. And that we have. Okay, that's leading us up to the Passover.
Right.
Okay, hold on. This is crazy. It don't even allow me to share. Um, okay. Sorry about that, Ox.
That's
All right,
cool.
so Joseph gave this prophecy. All right, so let's go ahead and go over to Exodus chapter 1, and let's read from verse 1 to 22. And can I get a reader?
I'll read it again. You said chapter 1, verse what again?
1 to 22.
Okay. Tom?
Huh.
Alright. Uh, now these are the names of the children of Yasharal which came unto Egypt. Every man in his house in his household came with Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of the loins of Jacob were 70 souls, for Joseph was in Egypt already, and Joseph died, and all his brethren and all his generations, and the children of Yasharal were fruitful and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceedingly mighty, and the land was filled with them. Now there rose up a new king out over Egypt, which knew not Joseph, and he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Yasharal are more and mightier than we. Come on, let us deal wisely with them, lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when they're fallen out any war, they join also unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens, and they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, uh, Pihom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew, and they were grieved or grieving. because of the children of Yasharal. And the Egyptians made the children of Yasharal to serve with rigor, and they made their lives bitter with hard bondage and in mortar and in brick and in all matter of service in the field. All their service there wherein they made them serve with rigor. And the and the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrew midwives, of which name of the one was Shiphrah, and the name of the other Purah. And he said, when ye do the offers of a midwife to the Hebrew woman, and see them upon the stalls, if it be a son, then they shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwife feared Elohim and did not, as the king of Egypt commanded them, but saved the man child alive. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the man child alive? And the maidservant said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Therefore Elohim dealt with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwife feared Elohim, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh called, and Pharaoh changed all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter ye shall save alive.
Okay.
Mhm.
So in the story, we could see the deceptions, we can see the plot to overcome a people and oppress a people. And when we look at it, we see that in verse 10 it says, uh Pharaoh said, come, let us deal wisely with them, least they multiply. So out of fear and also cunningness, he decided to deal wisely with our forefathers and deal cunningly with them, right? And but also you could see them place hard bondage. You could see them continue to, push them to do more and more and more as they go along, and as they continue to go more and more and more, then they grew, you know, in this plot and in this deception. So the king of Israel, excuse me, the Pharaoh of Egypt, seeing that they're continuously growing, and his plot was to get the midwives or get other Hebrews to participate in killing the male child. And that part didn't work because, the women are lively and they give birth, right. They give birth easy. And before the midwives even come in, the baby's already born, and they feared Yahuwah, so they wasn't going to do it in the first place. And then also the next one is that he wanted to go ahead and kill all the male sons. So he wanted to wipe out the whole nation, kill all the male sons, and then keep the daughters.
Right. He
F,
uh he
F
wanted to get rid of everybody that could be a threat.
yes,
So
Right,
the male sons would be the army. So he had to get rid of the threat. So
right.
you know what I mean. He had to take the threat out the way. Because if they
right,
would
That kind of
multiply, the male sons would become more than what's in Egypt, then they could be an army that possibly takes them over.
right.
because the Egyptians were already afraid of that already, and
Yep.
that kind of reminds me of today, how they're demasculating the males.
And when you see people work, when you see people work and they can work for hours and hours and hours, that kind of tells you what type of soldier they will be.
Exactly.
Exactly, a strong
You,
one.
yeah, exactly. You're like, oh wow, we can't have these people up against us.
Right, because these people gonna be he gonna be relentless, you know.
Right.
But it's a heavy plot, and this plot, he just, plotted his own demise, you know, in this situation. All right, so the next one is the Most High's word come into play, and Shabbat Shalom, sis.
Shabbat,
Shabbat shalom, Kelly.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
So the next segment is the Most High's word come into play. So let's go to Exodus chapter 2, and let's go ahead and read from verse 1 to 15.
You said verse 2, 1 to 15?
Verse 2, 1 to 15, and then
All
I'm
right.
gonna have somebody else pick up after that.
All right, I could read it.
Or a matter of fact, could you do verse 1 to 15 and then 23 to 25?
Yeah, so verse 2, or chapter 2, 1 to 15,
1 to 15, and
and
then
then
verse 23.
23 and 25. Okay.
Yes,
All right, ready?
yes.
All right. A man of the house of Levi went and took a daughter of Levi as his wife. The woman conceived and bore a son. When she saw that he was a fine child, she hid him 3 months. When she could no longer hide him, she took a papyrus basket for him and coated it with tar and with camphor. She put the child in it and laid it in the reeds by the river's bank. His sister stood afar off to see what would be done to him. Pharaoh's daughter came down to bathe at the river. Her maidens walked alongside by the riverside. She saw the basket among the reeds, and she sent her handmaid to get it. She opened it, and she saw the child, and behold, the baby cried. She had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children." Then his sister said to Pharaoh's daughter, "Should I go and call a nurse for you from the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for you?" Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Go." The Alma went and called the child's mother. Pharaoh's daughter said to her, "Take this child away and nurse him for me, and I will give you your wages." The
Mm,
woman took the child and nursed it. The child grew, and she brought him to Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. She named him Moshe, and said, "Because I drew him out of the water." And it happened in those days when Moshe had grown up that he went out to his brothers and looked at their burdens. He saw a Mitzrayim striking a Hebrew, one of his brothers. He looked this way and that way, and when he saw that there was no one, he killed the Mitzrayim and hid him in the sand. Then went out the second day, and behold, two men of the Hebrews were fighting each other. He said to them, "Who did the wrong? Why do you strike your fellow?" He said, "Who made you a prince and a judge over us? Do you plan to kill me as you killed the Mitzrayim?" Moshe was afraid and said, "Surely this thing is known." Now, when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to kill Moshe. But Moshe fled from the face of Pharaoh and lived in the land of Midian, and he sat down by a well. Verse 23, right? It
mm-hmm.
happened in the course of those many days that the king of Mitzrayim died, and the children of Israel sighed because of their bondage, and they cried, and their cry came up to Elohim because of their bondage. Elohim heard their groanings, and Elohim remembered his covenant with Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. And Elohim saw the children of Yisrael, and Elohim was concerned about them.
Okay. So in this chapter here, we can see the lineup of how Yahuwah had used something old, as far as even like, the development of the ark, right? So it's like, Noah had an ark that saved him. Moshe had this ark that he was placed in and placed in the water, and he received salvation too inside of this ark. And it was beautiful on how Yahuwah had set this thing up, because Pharaoh's daughter found him. Then it was already set up for his sister to be sitting there watching to see what was going to happen, to go get the mother, and the mother gets paid for keeping her own son. So you see the movement of Yahuwah just coming into play, the favor just coming into play, and his word is starting to take form and take shape. You see, even all the way up until Moshe even seeing his brothers, his brother, well, an Egyptian and his brother going at it. He slew the Egyptian because he protected his brother for a righteous cause, because Moshe knew something about the law, because he was raised around his own family too. Then we see his brothers come out, and he's trying to stop them from quarrel and conflict as a righteous man, and they bring up something or accusation that he did. He gets away from there. Pharaoh wants to kill him. Yahuwah preserves his life alive, and now the process of time. The king of Egypt dies. Yahuwah hears the cries and the sighs of the children of Israel. He remembers his covenant, and now his word starts to come into play from based off of that covenant.
Can I add something
Got
in
anything
here?
else to add?
Yeah, can I add something?
Yes.
It's funny when he comes to his brothers, right? And he tries to help them, right? What did they say to him?
Who made you a king and a ruler or a judge over us?
But listen to that. Isn't that the way? Isn't that the way we do? When
Yeah,
somebody comes in with correction, when somebody comes in as with some
a
leadership, the
mediator.
first thing you do
Are
is,
you
oh, who
holier
put
than
you
thou?
over me? Yep. The first thing you do, who put you over me? Who made you a prince? Who made you this and that?
Right. Who put
It's
you in charge?
crazy. That
But
exactly. This is the same way people deal with one another today. As soon
Right.
as you bring correction, or you bring a difference, or you bring a word in, that person wants to accuse you, or not accuse you, but that person wants to knock you down by saying, who put you over me?
yeah,
Yeah. Who put you in charge?
yeah.
Yep.
That's funny. That's funny. That's real funny you say that. I was just thinking of something. Uh, with like Korah, and how Korah and them did the same thing with Moshe. Like, who told you this? Who put you here?
He
You know?
talks to us too, right? When he
Yeah,
said, yeah, he talks to us too. We
yeah,
got a relationship with him too.
right.
And that's always the way. That's always the way to someone trying to, when that man is being raised up, that's always somebody trying to come against that man because they don't understand what's happening. And
Right.
these two didn't understand what was going on, but they wanted to accuse him. Though, what did they do in order to make him back up? They had to throw what, an accusation out
An
there. Do
accusation.
you plan to kill me like you did
Yeah,
the Egyptian? So they
right,
do. They throw the accusation out, and what the accusation does, the accusation makes you humble down, and then
right,
once you humble down, then you won't take um, authority over that situation when somebody throws an accusation.
right. You won't try to implement yourself in it.
Exactly.
Um, all right. You done up? All right, yeah, he put on mute. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Exodus chapter 3, and let's read from verse 1 to 10, and then pick up from 16 to 22. Can I get a reader?
I can read it.
Huh?
I can read it. Exodus what?
Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 to 10,
Okay, I got it.
and then verse 16 to 22.
Okay. Con.
Come
Uh,
It's more subtle than any beast. Oh, Exodus. I'm in
on.
Genesis.
Exodus. More subtle than any beast in the field. He sure was.
He on to
Uh-huh.
something.
Huh? He trying to say something. That's right.
He on to something.
Uh-huh. That's funny how Pharaoh was cunning, huh?
Uh-huh.
All right. Uh, Khan.
Con.
Now Moshe kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the prince of Midian, and he led the flock to the backside of the desert and came to the mountain of Elohim, even to Horeb. And the angel of Abba Yahuwah appeared unto him in the flame of a fire out of the midst of the bush. And he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, and the bush was not consumed. And Moshe said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burned. And when Abba Yahuwah saw that he turned aside to see, Elua called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moshe, Moshe. And he said, Here I am. And he said, Draw not nigh hither, put off thy shoes from off thy feet, for this place whereon thou standest is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the Elua of thy fathers, the Elua of Abraham, the Elua of Isaac, and the Elua of Jacob. And Moshe hid his face from him, for he was afraid to look upon him, upon the Elua. And Abba Yahuwah said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrow. And I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of the land unto a good land and large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey, unto a place of the Canaanites, the Hittites, the Amorites, the Perizzites, the Hivites, the Jebusites. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Yahshua is come unto me, and I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mightest bring forth my people, the children of Yahshua, out of Mizmarim. I think you said 15 to something?
Oh, 16 to 22.
Okay. And Allah said unto Moshe, I am that I am. And he said, Thus shalt thou say,
16, 16. Go gather the elders of Israel together. 3:16.
Go and gather the elders of Yahshua together, and say unto them, Abba Yahuwah, your Allure of your fathers, the Allure of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, appear unto me, saying, I have surely visited you and seen which is done to them in Mesmerim. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Mesmerim unto a land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto a land flowing with milk and honey. And they shall hearken unto thy voice, and thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Yahshua, unto the king of Egypt. And you should say unto them, Abba Yahuwah, your allure of the Hebrews, have met with us. And now let us go, we beseech thee, 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to Yahuwah our allure.
22.
And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite the Egypts with all my wonders which I do in the midst thereof. And after that he will let you go. And I will give thou people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and shall come to pass that when you go, you should not go empty. But every woman should borrow of her neighbors and her that are sojourner in her house jewels, silvers, and jewels of gold, raiment, and you shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and you should spoil the Egyptians.
Okay. So as we can see here, we can see Yahuwah's plot, Yahuwah's twist on this thing is coming to pass, and his word is starting to come to pass. Because what did he promise to Abraham? He said that he'll be an enemy to his enemies, right? So now he is becoming an enemy unto the Israelite enemies, or their offspring enemies. and he's
Right.
getting in the midst of being ready to deliver them. And this is how the plot starts to thicken, because now Pharaoh has did what he wanted to do. Yahuwah has made his face seen. He has spoken a word. He has remembered a word, and now that word is starting to play. Huh?
Con.
All right.
Um,
So
Can I hit something real quick?
sure.
This every time I read this, um verse 3 and 4 always stand out to me. Just because how Yahuwah dealt with Moshe. He said,
Yeah.
Moshe said, I will turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush is not burnt. When Yahuwah saw that he turned aside to see, Elohim called him out of the midst of the bush. So he waited for Moshe to turn and look.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He waited for Moshe to notice it. He waited for Moshe to notice it was him. Or
Right.
you know what I mean? He waited for that. Always think that's a interesting point that Moshe, he didn't just call Moshe, he waited for Moshe to turn around and take notice.
That's funny
right.
that you say that, because even in this walk that we're in right now, it's the same aspect of us turning around and taking notice.
Mhm.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Just turning around and taking notice. That's a good point right there that you brought
But
out, Big Art.
but taking notice of what? A fire.
Exactly.
Yeah, the
Turn
bush
to
wasn't
a
being burned.
fire.
Yeah.
So he was going through some sort of affliction. Something was happening to him. Something probably concerned about the children of Israel, but he was going through an affliction. He was going through a fire. It's this fire. Are we going to turn to him in the fire? It's the same fire that whatchamacallit was in the Hebrew boys. The same fire, but fire. It's a fire. That's it.
The import What do we know about the bush though? The bush wasn't being what?
It wasn't being consumed.
Right.
Right.
It was
Just
not
So
like
being
what
how
consumed.
the
right.
Hebrew boys was in the fire,
Right.
but
Right.
Right.
they
So
weren't
Yeah.
consumed.
it wasn't
Right.
being consumed. So that's what made them take notice is that the bush wasn't being consumed. So
So
it wasn't a fire that he recognized, right? It wasn't a fire that he was used to. It wasn't a fire
Right.
that he's seen before. This was a different fire. This was a fire
right.
that
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 kept
didn't
life.
consume.
It
Yes.
sustained
Right.
life.
Exactly.
A fire that
Exactly.
sustained life.
It could dwell in something and not burn it up.
Uh-huh.
Man. It,
Oh man, watch out now. Watch out. Watch out. All right, so let's go ahead and hit chapter 4. And let's read chapter 4 from verse 1 to 9.
Yeah, I was saying that Daniel
Okay.
wasn't consumed by the lions either.
Oh, indeed.
He was in a
Indeed. That mouth will stop, right?
yeah.
Right. Right. Right.
All right. Can I get a reader?
you said what?
Just verse 1 to 9.
Oh, okay.
I can read it.
Okay.
And Moses answered and said, "But behold, they will not believe me nor hearken unto my voice, for they will say, Yahuwah hath not appeared unto thee." And Yahuwah said unto him, "What is that in thine hand?" And he said, "A rod." And he said, "Cast it on the ground." And he cast it on the ground, and it became a serpent. And Moses fled from before it. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, "Put forth thine hand and take it by the tail." And he put forth his hand and caught it, and it became a rod in his hand, that they may believe that Elohim, that Yahuwah Elohim of thy fathers, and Elohim of Abraham, and Elohim of Isaac, and Elohim of Jacob, hath appeared unto thee. And Yahuwah said therefore unto him, "Put now thy hand into thy bosom." And he put his hand into his bosom, and when he took it out, he behold, his hand was leprous as snow. And he said, "Put thine hand into thy bosom again." And he put his hand into his bosom again and plucked it out. of his bosom, and behold, it returned again as his other. It came to pass, if they will not believe thee, neither hearken to the voice of the first sign, that they will believe the voice of the latter sign. It came to pass, if they will not believe also these two signs, neither hearken unto thy voice, that thou shalt take the water of the river and pour it upon the dry land, and the water which thou takest out of the river shall become blood upon the dry land. And Moses said unto, oh, you said 9. That's it.
On to verse 9. Okay. So now we can see Yahuwah's word coming into play and him giving Moshe instructions and giving him also signs to prove that it's him. All right. The same way that we had all of these signs from the creation up to this point of him even meeting up with Moshe, we seen all of the signs that led to, him meeting up with Moshe at the mount. Okay. Khan. So now we're going to go into the warning. Now the warning is going to start in Exodus chapter 4, verse 22 and 23. And then we're going to go to Exodus 5, verse 1 to 7. Can I get a reader?
I'll read. It's just 22 and 23?
Yeah, Exodus 4, verse 22 and 23.
All right,
and then Exodus 5, 1 to 7.
Okay, I got it. All right, Khan.
Khan.
All right. You shall. Oh, you ready?
Mm-hmm.
All right. You shall tell Pharaoh, thus saith Yahuwah, Israel is my first son, my firstborn. And I have said to you, let my son go, that he may serve me. And you have refused to let him go. Behold, I will kill your son, your firstborn. All right, going to 5:1.
Mm-hmm.
Afterward, Moshe and Aaron came and said to Pharaoh, this is what Yahuwah, the Elohim of Israel, says. Let my people go, that they may hold a feast to me in the wilderness. Pharaoh said, who is the Lord, that I shall listen to his voice to let Israel go?
Hold
I
up,
don't.
Ak.
Yeah.
Hold up. Did you see the plot twist? Did you
Uh-huh.
see it change?
Yep.
You catch the change? He's in 23. He already threatened Pharaoh that he wasn't going to let him go.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? And he
Yep.
hadn't even spoken to him yet.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Daddy, have you seen Mommy's water bottle?
All right,
No,
I just wanted to bring that part out.
all right, cool.
All right, go ahead.
I don't know Yahuwah, and moreover, I will not let Israel go. They said, the Elohim of the Hebrews has met with us. Please let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Yahuwah, our Elohim, lest he fall on us with pestilence or with a sword. The king of Mitzrayim said to them, why do you, Moshe and Aaron, take the people from their work? Get back to your burdens. Pharaoh said, behold, the people of the land are now many, and you make them rest from their burdens. The same day Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people and their officers, saying, ye shall no longer give the people straw to make brick as before. Let them go and gather straw from themselves. The number of the bricks which they made before you require from them. You shall not diminish anything of it, for they are idle. Therefore they cry, saying, let us go and sacrifice to our Elohim. Let heavier work be laid on the men, that they may labor therein, and don't let them pay any attention to lying words.
Oh, right. Oh, you passed it. It's 7. My
Oh,
bad.
okay.
Yeah, my bad.
Okay.
My apologies. So now, like I said, we can see this warning coming in where Yahuwah had already said straight up and down, he will not hearken, and Israel's my son, my firstborn. I will take it out on you, on your son and your firstborn. Straight up. He already told Moshe what it was. He gave Moshe the signs all the way through. And then now here's the outplay of it to see what was gonna happen. Well, we already knew what was gonna happen. Pharaoh's heart was gonna be hardened, so we already knew what it was gonna look like. Okay, so now let's go into chapter 6 and let's look at the promise that Yahuwah had given us. So it'll be can I get someone to read chapter 6, 1 to 13?
I'll read.
All right. And I'll do chapter 7, 1 to 6. Try to get us into that loop. All right, go ahead, Big Op.
Khan.
Khan.
Then Yahuwah said unto Moshe, Now shall thou see what I will do to Pharaoh, for with a strong hand shall he let them go, and with a strong hand shall he drive them out of his land. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, and said unto him, I am Yahuwah, and I appeared unto Abraham, unto Isaac, and unto Jacob by the name of Yahuwah Almighty, but by my name Yahuwah was I not known to them. And I have also established my covenant with them to give them the land of Canaan, the land of their pilgrimage, wherein they were strangers. And I
No,
have also, huh?
the land of their pilgrimage.
That's what I said.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the land of their pilgrimage. Therefore, wherein they were strangers, and I have also heard the groaning of the children of Yasharal, whom the Egyptians keeping in bondage, and I have remembered my covenants. Wherefore, say unto the children of Yasharal, I am Yahuwah, and I will bring you out of the land of I will bring you out from under the burdens of the Egyptians, and I will rid you out of their bondage, and I will redeem you with a stretched out arm and with great judgments, and I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a Elohim, and what ye shall know that I am Yahuwah your Elohim, which bringeth you out from under the burden of the Egyptians. And I will bring you in unto the land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, and I will give it for you. I'll give it to you for an inheritance. I am Yahuwah. And Moshe spoke so unto the children of Yasharal, but they hearkened not unto Moshe for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage. And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, saying, Go and speak unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, that he let the people of Israel go out of his land. And Moshe spoke before Yahuwah, saying, Behold, the children of Yasharal have not hearkened unto me. How then shall Pharaoh hear me, and I am of uncircumcised lips? And Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe and unto Aaron, and gave them a charge unto the children of Yasharal and unto Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to bring the children of Yasharal out of the land of Egypt.
Hallelujah. So he set a commandment
Hallelujah.
and a charge. All right. So it
Yeah.
worked out.
Uh-huh.
Hallelujah. All right, you got anything on that one, Nikimya?
Yeah, I was gonna go to Moshe was like, how is Pharaoh going to listen to me when the children of Israel didn't even listen to me?
Yeah.
And it said that they didn't listen. The children of Israel didn't listen for anguish of spirit and for cruel bondage. So they were so worn out that they couldn't even imagine this taking place.
Right.
They were so
Eat up.
worn out at this time. They couldn't even imagine like this whole thing, them leaving out. So it was kind of like somebody come to you and say like, "Oh, I know you got a lot of bills, but you play this number, you win you could win the lottery."
Yeah.
It was almost like that, and you just like, man, I'm not playing no lottery, man. I'm not gonna play it. You
I've
know
been
what I
through
mean? Because
so much.
it's so far fetched that you could even win. You're like, I'm not even doing that, man. Well, I'm not gonna do. And that's kind of how they felt. They were like, this is out there.
Yeah,
I'm
because
tired. It's unbelievable.
the first you see the
Yeah,
first time when he went to him, when he went to foul, he was like, "Yo, get out of here, man! You trying to get the people out their burdens and out of their tasks, man. Make it worse on them, man. What are you
yeah.
doing?"
But I'm
So
talking about how his people responded to him.
yeah,
Not how
responded
Pharaoh,
back.
but how his
Yeah,
own
how people
people. They were so
responded back to Pharaoh.
tired.
Yeah, I mean back
Yeah,
to Moses.
yeah, they were so tired with their burdens that they couldn't picture this happening.
Right, they ain't even had the energy.
Yeah, and it was just like, yeah, man, this is like winning the lottery, man. Nah, man, I'm good.
Yeah, I keep my money in my pocket. I'd rather keep
Right,
it than to spend it and
right,
lose
right, right. Because they couldn't see it. They couldn't see themselves getting out of this. So that's kind of, how it looked.
it. Right. All right. So I'm gonna hit 7-1. And Yahuwah has said unto Moshe, "See, I have made thee a god to Pharaoh, and Aaron thy brother shall be thy prophet, and thou shalt speak all that I command thee, and Aaron thy brother shall speak unto Pharaoh that he shall send the children of Israel out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart, and I will multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh shall not hearken unto you, that I may lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth mine armies and my people, the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great judgments. And the Egyptians shall know that I am Yahuwah when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them." And Moshe and Aaron did as Yahuwah had commanded them, so did they. And Moshe was fourscore years old, and Aaron was fourscore and 3 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. All right. So as we could see all of these things coming together. We could see Yahuwah's promises. We could see, excuse me. Let me back up a little bit. I'm going too far forward. We can see the prophecy from Joseph that Yahuwah was going to visit. We could see Pharaoh's deception and plot to destroy the children of Israel. We can see Yahuwah's word coming to pass and starting to play itself into this plot and this plan that Pharaoh think that he got over on the children of Israel, and he don't. So even when the enemy think he getting slick, he really not. That's how it looks to me. And it's starting to appear more and more that, okay, like your plot that you had against me, turn it around to your own plate. That's almost like Psalms 10, where David told him that the plot of the enemy is turned around into their own place. Okay, so we went past the warning and into the promise. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the signs that Yahuwah had commanded Aaron and Moshe to go ahead and go to Pharaoh with. So could we get a reader to read Exodus chapter 7, verse 9 to 25?
I can read it.
You got it?
Yep. 9 to 25.
Yes.
And when Pharaoh shall speak unto you, saying, show a miracle for you, then thou should say unto Aaron, take thy rod and cast it before Pharaoh, and it shall become a serpent. And Moshe and Aaron went up unto Pharaoh, and they did so as Abba Yahuwah had commanded. And Aaron cast down his rod at Pharaoh, and before the servants, that it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called the wise men and the sorcerers. Now the musicians,
Magicians,
how you say it?
magicians,
Magicians of Mizraim, that they also did in like manner with their enchantments. For they cast down every man his rod, and they became serpents. But Aaron's rod swallowed up their rods, and he hardened Pharaoh's heart, that he hearkened not unto them, as Abiyahu had said. And Abiyahu said unto Moshe, Pharaoh's heart is hardened; he refuses to let the people go. Get thee unto Pharaoh in the morning. Lo, he goeth out unto the waters, and thou shalt stand by the river bank against he come, and the rod which returned to the serpent should thou take in thy hand, and thou should say unto him, Abba Yehoah Elohim thou Hebrews has sent me unto thee, saying, Let my people go, that they may serve me in the wilderness. And behold, hereunto thou would not hear. Thus says Abba Yahuwah, in thou if this thou should know that I am Yahuwah. Behold, I will smite with the rod that is in my hand, and have upon the waters which are in the rivers, and thou should be turned to blood. And the fish that is in the river should die, and the river should stink, and the Egyptians should loathe to drink of the water of the river. And Abba Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe, say unto Aaron, Take thy rod, and stretch out thy hand upon the waters of Egypt, upon their streams, upon their rivers, upon their ponds, upon their pools of water, that they may become blood, and that they may be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, both in the vessels of wood and in the vessels of stone. And Moshe and Aaron did so as Yahuwah commanded, and he lifted up his rod and smote the waters that were in the rivers in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants. And all the water that were in the rivers were turned to blood. And the fish that was in the rivers died, and the rivers stunk, and the Egyptians could not drink of the waters of the rivers. Of them was blood throughout all the land of Egypt, and the whatever
magicians.
Egypt, yeah, Egypt did as their enchantments, and Pharaoh's heart was hardened. Neither did he hearken unto them as Abiyahu had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into the house, neither did he set his heart to do also. And all the Egyptians digged around about the river for waters to drink, for they could not drink of the waters of the river. And 7 days were fulfilled after Abiyahu had smite the river.
All right. So after Moshe did the first signs, right, that Yahuwah had given him, the final sign of the blood in the river, it was 7 days fulfilled after he had smitten the river. And these people were able to go in, and this sign, they was able to go in and engineer a way to dig around to get fresh water. So Yahuwah didn't bust their heads 100% completely yet. All right, so let's get to now we're going to get into the plagues. So we're going to go to chapter, let me see, chapter 8.
Can I bring something to your attention?
Yes.
All right. So Moshe and Aaron, they struck the river, and the river became blood. Right?
Yeah.
They smote it. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What did Moshe have to do to the rock the first time?
Smote it.
He smote the rock, and what came out of the rock?
Water,
Water. What came out of
Exactly.
Yahusha when Yahusha was pierced?
water,
Water and
Water and
blood.
blood,
Blood and water. He was smoked, and blood
and
and
he
water came out.
and he is the
Uh-huh.
rock.
Yep, it's the same
Yeah.
thing. It's like a precursor. You can see all the steps lining up
Yeah.
with the
Uh,
blood and water coming
Right.
out from being smoked.
Now check
uh-huh.
this one out. You can see where he had to dig into the earth in order for the water to be purified.
Right.
Oh man, this is crazy. This is a lovely thing, man. I don't know. I don't know how we could get bored doing this.
Right. Yahuwah confirms his word twice.
Yeah,
Yep.
man. There's just so many different things in here, man, that gives a full confirmation of everything that's being said. All right. So now we, like I said, we're gonna go into the plague. So we're gonna have to, I want to kind of like break through the chapter. I didn't break it here because um it's important for everybody to read the whole thing. Somebody alarm going off.
Sounds like a drill.
All right, so let's read chapter 8, verse 1 to 8.
Chapter
I got
8.
it. You want to start?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought more. Hallelujah.
This-
And who spake unto Moses, go unto Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith Yahuwah, let my people go, that they may serve me. And if thou refuse to let them go, behold, I will smite all thy borders with frogs. And the river shall bring forth frogs abundantly, which shall go up and come into thine house, and into thy bedchamber, and upon thy bed, and into the house of thy servant, and and upon thy people, and into thine ovens, and into thy kneading troughs. And the frog shall come up both on thee, and upon thy people, and upon all thy servants. And Yahuwah spake unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch forth thine hand with thy rod over the streams, over the rivers, over the ponds, and cause frogs to come up upon the land of Mizraim. And Abraham stretched out his hand over the waters of Mizraim, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Mizraim. And the magicians did so with their enchantments, and brought up frogs unto the land of Mizraim. And Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, entreat Yahuwah that he may take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go, that they may sacrifice unto Yahuwah.
Okay. All right. So we see Pharaoh coming to grasp. Okay, like, all right, this is too much. The magicians did their thing. Yahuwah did his thing. And now they got a house full of frogs everywhere. So now, Pharaoh says, yeah, I'm gonna let you go. It's kind of funny how we be in situations where we're amongst people where they'll say anything or do anything for the moment in order to get their way. Just for that situation to be over, they'll say or do anything to get it over. So
Right.
it's something just to think about, when you're dealing with people. That sometimes there's times where people would just say out of what is the right word for this? Desperation. In some cases will say anything just to get what they want. So let's check this
Right.
out and find out if what I'm saying is true. Okay. Verse 14, 13. And Yahuwah did according to the word of Moshe, and the frogs died out of the house and out of the villages and out of the field. And they gathered themselves together upon heaps, and the land stank. But Pharaoh saw that there was respite, and he hardened his heart and
Respite.
hearkened not. Huh?
That word is respite.
Oh, excuse me, respite, which means rest. I don't know why the hell I said respite. Okay, respite, and hardened his heart and hearkened not unto them as Yahuwah had said. So we could see as soon as he got a little bit of rest, it was okay, back to the norm. So as soon as things look smooth, back to the norm.
Well, you you can also just go back to what Yahuwah said.
Mm-hmm.
What did Yahuwah say from the beginning?
That he was going to harden his heart.
Yeah, now he wasn't going to listen, right? So
Mhm.
you can go back to the beginning and we talked about this the other day.
Yeah,
No
the
one can
flesh.
resist the will of the Most High.
Exactly.
You can't resist His will.
You can try.
You can try, but you can't. And in this case, when Yahuwah hardened his heart, there was only one direction that this thing could ever go. This thing could never go another direction. There was only one direction.
Right. And that's why that promise of Israel's my son, my firstborn. If you don't let my son, my firstborn go to so they could worship me, then I'll slay your son, your firstborn.
Right. That was going to happen.
Right. He already laid the play out. Hallelujah. All right. So let's go ahead and look at chapter 8, verse 16. Verse 16 down to verse 20.
You said 16 to
Verse 16 to 23.
Oh, you got it, Ak? Or you want me to read?
You can read it. Go ahead.
Yeah, chapter 8, verse 16 to 23.
And Yahuwah said unto Moses, say unto Aaron, stretch out thy rod and smite the dust of the land, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Mizraim. And they did so, for Aaron stretched out his hand with his rod, and smote the dust of the earth, and it became lice in man and in beast. All the dust of the land became lice throughout all the land of Egypt, of Mizraim. The magicians did so with their enchantments to bring forth lice, but they could not. So there were lice upon men and upon beasts. And the magician said unto Pharaoh, this is the finger of Elohim. And Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he hearkened not unto them, as Yahuwah had said. And Yahuwah said unto Moses, rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh. Lo, he cometh forth to the water, and say unto him, thus saith Yahuwah, let my people go, that they may serve me.
Mhm.
Elise,
Else,
else if thou wilt not let my people go, behold, I will send swarms of flies upon thee, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, and into thy houses, and the houses of the Mizraim shall be full of swarms of flies, and also the ground thereon they are. And I will sever in that day the land of Goshen, in which my people dwell, that no swarms of flies shall be there, to the end thou mayest know that I am Yahuwah in the midst of the earth. And I will put a division between my people and thy people. Tomorrow shall this sign be. I'm not sure where you said to stop.
the 23.
Okay, that's it.
Okay. So we see the frogs, Pharaoh heart hardened again. We see the lice, and we also see the Egyptians give up. They like, man, like, yo, we can't do this. Like, we can't even focus. this,
Right.
this ain't nothing but the finger of God. I can't focus doing this one. You feel me?
Yeah,
So
we
it kind
got
of
these people about it.
right now. You got these swarm of flies now, right? So, and Yahuwah put a division between Israel and between the Egyptians. So remember where we said that one of those letters, I think it was the pay, was actually a division in between something and support. You know, we have support and division. All right, so it says 20, I'm gonna read 24 to 26. And Yahuwah did so, and there came grievous swarms of flies in the house of Pharaoh, and unto his servants' house, and unto all the land of Egypt, was corrupted by the reason of the swarms of flies. And Pharaoh had called to Moshe and Aaron and said, "Go ye, sacrifice to your God in the land." And Moses has said, "It is not meet to do so to do, for we shall sacrifice the abominations of the Egyptians to Yahuwah our Elohim. Lo, we sacrifice the abominations of the Egyptians before their eyes, and they will they not stone us?" Okay, so now we have Pharaoh telling him to go and sacrifice in the land. Yahuwah's original request was for them to come where? Come to the mount, right? The same mount that he met Moshe at was the same mount he was supposed to bring him to. Khan, agreement?
Right. Uh,
But as we can see, you have something to say, Nikimya?
No.
Okay. As we can see, Pharaoh's a pain freak. Okay. He just a pain freak. All right. Verse 32, it says, "And Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, neither will he let the people go." So once again, here's that setup for what Yahuwah's word said he was going to do, as hardening Pharaoh's heart. Now here comes some more demise for Pharaoh. Can I get somebody to read chapter 9, verse 1?
I was just gonna say that I think like pharaohs in that time kind of felt like they were gods, and he probably felt like he's on the same level as our Elohim, so he was also willing to challenge him.
Yeah. Because that's right. That's right. Because all the pharaohs were like gods to the
They
people.
thought,
Yeah.
thought, and they make these big statues and butts and like over larger than life size images of themselves and all the tombs and things where they were buried and stuff were just really decadent.
massive,
Yeah,
covered in gold and
yeah.
jewels and all types of costly gems.
So it shows just how highly of themselves they thought.
Yeah. That is
Right.
crazy.
Sorry.
All right. So can I get someone to read chapter 9, verse 1 to 12?
I can read it.
Go ahead, Mikael.
Khan.
Okay.
Then Abba Yahuwah said unto Moshe, "Go unto Pharaoh and tell him, Thus says Yahuwah Elohim of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go, and will hold them still, behold, the hand of Abba Yahuwah is upon the cattle which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the butts, upon the camels, upon the oxen, upon the sheep. Thou shalt be a very grievous mourning." And Abba Yahuwah spoke unto servant between the cattle of Yashua and the cattle of the Egyptians. And thou shalt be nothing die of all that of the children of Yashua. And Abba Yahuwah appointed a set time, saying, Tomorrow Abba Yahuwah should do this thing in thy hand. And Abba Yahuwah did that thing on the morrow. And all the cattle of Mizraim died, but of the cattle of the children of Yashua died not one. And Pharaoh said, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of Yashua of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. And Abba Yahuwah said unto Moshe and unto Aaron, Take you a handful of ashes of the furnace, and let Moshe sprinkle it towards the heavens in the sight of Pharaoh, and it should become small dust in all the land of Mizraim, and it should be a boil breaking forth with flames upon
Mm-hmm.
man and upon beasts throughout all the land of Mizraim. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moshe sprinkled it up towards heavens, and it became boiled, breaking forth with flames upon men and upon beasts. And the musicians could not stand before Moshe because of the boils, for the boils were upon the musicians, whatever, upon all Mizraim. And Abba Yahuwah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hardened not unto them, as Abba Yahuwah had spoken unto Moshe.
Okay. So we see this dude, true pain freak. He can't resist it. He can't resist but to go through it. It's bad.
He's almost like a sadist.
I'm trying to tell you, like he just determined. Like this is like like the idea of insanity. Like you
Yeah. Like
know,
over and over and over again.
same thing over. Yeah, trying to get a different result, man. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Okay, so all right, and I'm gonna pick up from 13 down. Okay, it says, and Yahuwah had said unto Moshe, rise up early in the morning and stand before Pharaoh and say unto him, thus saith Yahuwah, Yahuwah Elohim of the Hebrews, let my people go that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thy heart and upon thy servants and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth. For I will stretch out my hand, and I will smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from among the earth. Excuse me, cut off from the earth. And the in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to show in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. As yet exaltest thou thyself against my people, that thou wilt not let them go. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hell, such as have not been in Egypt since the foundations thereof, even until now. Send therefore now and gather the cattle and all thou hast in the field, for upon every man and beast which shall be found in the field shall not be brought home. The hell shall come down upon them, and they shall die. And he that feareth the word of Yahuwah among the servants of Pharaoh had made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses. Now these people starting to see something change and something different going on. And they like, man, listen, like even the magicians backing up, man, like, yo, man, I might want to, some of us, some of the ones that was fearful was like, man, I might want to go ahead and get inside, man, and pay attention because this ain't working. Huh? All right. So let's pick up from can I get somebody to pick up from verse 27 down to verse 34?
What was that up? I'm sorry.
Huh?
I said, what was that?
Chapter 9. Can I
Chapter
get somebody
9?
to pick up from verse 37? I mean, excuse me, 27 and 34.
I got it. Gone.
Come on.
And Pharaoh sent and called for Moshe and Aaron, and said unto them, this time. I have sinned this time. Yahuwah is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Intent Yahuwah, for it is enough that there be no more mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go, and ye shall stay no longer. And Moshe said unto him, as soon as I am gone out of the city, I will spread abroad my hand onto Yahuwah, and the thunders shall cease, neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know how that the earth is Yahuwah's. But as for thee and thy servants, I will know that ye will not yet fear Yahuwah the Elohim. And the flock and the flocks and the barley was smitten, for the barley was in the ear, and the flocks was boiled. But the wheat and the reed were not smitten, for they were not grown up. And Moshe went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread abroad his hand unto Yahuwah, and the thunders and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more and hardened his heart, he and his servants. He says 35 or 34.
You can read 35.
Okay. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Yasharal go as Yahuwah has spoken by Moshe.
All right. All right. Now, chapter 10. Can I get someone to read chapter 10, verse 3 to verse 7?
I can do that.
Okay. And then could you pick up verse after that and do verse 12 to 18?
Where
Yeah.
are we at on the slides? Because I
We're
don't
still
see
we're
them.
still in the plagues.
Oh, I don't. Okay.
Yeah, in the plagues, I just put down. Remember when we started, I said I
Oh,
just
you
put
just
down
put
the
down
scripture.
10 and 11.
Right. I just
Okay.
put down the chapter because it's important for everybody to read through the chapters. But what I'm doing now is just trying to skip through so we can see the plagues. We can see Pharaoh heart in his heart,
Okay.
and right. So I'm just skipping through so we can just see
Got it.
these things happen so we can speed it along.
All right. I was trying to see where. Okay. So 3 to 7, and then what?
3 to 7, and then 12 to 18.
All right. Cool. All right. Moshe and Aaron went into Pharaoh and said to him, "This is what Yahuwah, the Elohim of the Hebrews, says. How long will you refuse to humble yourself before me? Let my people go, that they may serve me. Or else, if you refuse to let my people go, behold, tomorrow I will bring locusts into your country, and they shall cover the surface of the arets, so that no one shall be able to see the arats. They shall eat the residue of that which has escaped, which remains to you from the hail, and shall eat every tree which grows for you out of the field. Your houses shall be filled, and your house and the houses of your servants, of all your servants, and the houses of all the Mitzrayim, as neither your fathers nor your fathers' fathers have seen, since the day that they were on the arets to this day. He turned and went out from Pharaoh. Pharaoh's servants said to him, how long will this man be a snare to us? Let the men go, that they may serve Yahuwah, their Elohim. Don't you yet know that Mitzrayim is destroyed? All right, so 7, and then it was 12 to 18.
12, yeah, 12 to 18.
Yahuwah said to Moshe, stretch out your hand over the land of Mitzrayim for the locusts, that they may come up on the land of Mitzrayim and eat every herb of the land, and even all the hail has left. Moshe stretched forth his rod over the land of Mitzrayim, and Yahuwah brought an east wind on the land all that day and all that night. And when it was morning, the east wind brought the locusts. The locusts went up over all of the land of Mitzrayim and rested in all the borders of Mitzrayim. They were very grievous. Before them there were no such locusts as they, neither after them shall be such. For they covered the surface of the whole earth, so that the land was darkened, and they ate every herb of the land, and all the fruit of the trees which the hail had left. There remained nothing green, either tree or herb of the field, through all the land of Mitzrayim. Then Pharaoh called for Moshe and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against Yahuwah your Elohim and against you. Now, therefore, please forgive my sin again, and pray to Yahuwah your Elohim that he may take away from me this death. He went out from Pharaoh and prayed to Yahuwah.
All right. Boy, it's getting thicker and thicker, ain't it? All right, so I need somebody to pick up for me from verse 20 to 27.
Can I just say something before you move on?
Yeah, sure.
Do you see how Yahuwah has made Moshe a god, has
Yeah,
made him an Elohim?
yeah.
Because who does Pharaoh's asking for forgiveness of his sin from who?
From Moshe.
He's
Forgive me.
asking Moshe for
Yeah,
forgiveness.
forgive me. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's doing exactly, Yahoo is doing exactly what he said. He said that he would make Moshe a god, or Moshe an Elohim, and he would make Aaron the prophet. And that's exactly what he's doing, because in order for this thing to stop, it only stops and starts based on Moshe.
Right.
Everything starts and stops based on Moshe. When he prays for it to happen, it happens. When he
When
prays for it to stop, it stops. No matter
uh,
how many times he goes back and forth. So every time he prays for it, it happens. So
so
he has to go to Moshe.
right, because what does Moshe have to do? Open his mouth, right? So he's
Yep.
walking in that image and likeness.
So he becomes, who does he become on earth?
Yahusha,
Yep. He
the
becomes the
mediator.
representative. He becomes an image in the earth,
The mediator.
like
Yep.
like Adam was. He becomes the earthly representation of him. Every
Yep.
time he opens his mouth, every time he prays, he can start or stop it. So
Exactly. All right. Can I some I have all right. So you was done, right, Nikimya?
yep.
Okay. Can I get somebody to read from verse 20 to 27?
Got it. But Yahuwah hardened Pharaoh's heart so that he would not let the children of Yasharal go. Yahuwah said unto Moses, stretch out thine hand toward the Sham, that there may be darkness over the land of
Excuse
even
me.
darkness, which may be felt. Want me to stop?
No, go ahead, sis.
Okay. And Moses stretched forth his hand toward Shamaim, and there was a thick darkness in the land of Mizraim 3 days. They saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days. But all the children of Yasharal had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, or Moshe, and said, go ye, serve Yahuwah. Only let your flocks and your herds be stayed. Let your little ones also go with you. And Moshe said, thus thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto Yahuwah our Elohim. Our cattle also shall go with us. There shall not a hoof be left behind. And therefore must we take to the service of Yahuwah our Elohim. And we know not what I'm sorry. We know not with what we must serve Elohim, Yahuwah, until we come thither. But Yahuwah hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said unto him, get thee from me, take heed to thyself. See my face no more, for in that day thou shalt see it's my face, thou shalt die. So is this saying that like they didn't even know what the Most High would require them to sacrifice until they're there?
Right.
Yep.
That
Yep.
means that's the idea of I got to take everything with me. Like I'm leaving nothing that belongs to me behind.
Right, because that might be what the Most High requires at that moment.
Right. So if I leave any see, and you can see how Pharaoh started changing his play. He was like, go ye the men only. Or go ye and sacrifice in the land. Go ye and leave your children behind. You feel me? Go ye. And he kept changing up the play.
Yeah,
But look
because
at your. Okay.
Go ahead out. Or
No,
sis.
go ahead. Go ahead, sis.
no, I was just saying he's trying to keep some semblance of control
Yep.
and
And I
he's
was gonna.
grasping
Yeah.
at laws. That's it.
Right. Because if you give the stipulation, that means you have full what? You have the authority. You have the control.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same. Yahuwah gave the same commandment to Abraham: get thee out of thy country, right?
Out of that father's house.
Yep.
Right.
So he had to leave and take all his stuff with him, not knowing where he. Remember, Abraham didn't know where he was going. He didn't
Right.
know what he was going to do. He didn't know any of that. He just had to go. And this is the same thing. Is like Yahuwah hasn't even told us what we're going to do when we get there, what we're going to sacrifice, how we're going to sacrifice. So we need to take everything with us. So it's the same thing. Like just go. Like you go, and then once you get there, I'll tell you what you're doing. Almost like what he did with Abraham and his son. You
Yeah.
know, until he found the ram in the bush. It's almost the same thing. Like, you go and do what I told you to do, and then when you get there, I'll tell you what to do.
It feels like about like having blind faith when it comes to the Most High. You got to put all your faith and trust in Him.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
But
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
can't shrink back, can't hold anything back from Him.
Indeed. All right, now we're gonna move forward. I was gonna go and I was gonna skim through chapter 11 real quick, just to get into the lineup of bringing us into the second portion of him liberating us. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna hit chapter 12 so we can go through the ordinance of what the Passover is. And that way afterwards everybody can, at your own leisure time, you can go back and you can read chapter 12 about the Passover going into chapter 13. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and read through. Can I get a reader? And what we'll do is we'll split. How many chapters is it? I mean, verses. Chapter 12 is about 51 verses. And we only have to read 41. Okay, so could I get each person to read 10 verses?
Sure.
All right. And I'll join in too as well. To read through. So we can just get through it. And then one of us can read chapter 13, verse 1 to 18.
Mm-hmm. So,
All right. So could we get an order so we'll know how it's gonna go?
go ahead. You
Who's gonna read 1 to 10?
I'll do it.
All right, 11 to 20.
Do it.
All right, 21 to 30.
I'll read it.
All right, 31 to 41. All right, I'll take that. All right, 31 to 41. Okay. Okay. Con?
Um,
All right, whenever you're ready.
And Moshe spake unto Moses and Aaron in the land of Mizraim, saying, This month shall be unto you the beginning of months. It shall be the first month of the year to you. Speak ye unto all the congregation of Yasharal, saying, In the 10th day of this month they shall take to them every man a lamb according to the house of their fathers, a lamb for an house. And if the house be too little for the lamb, let let him and his neighbor next unto his house take it according to the number of the souls. Every man according to his eating shall make your account for the lamb. Your lamb shall be without blemish, and male of the first year shall ye take it out from the sheep or from the goats. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month, and the whole assembly of the congregation of Yasharal shall kill it in the evening. And they shall take of the blood and strike it on the two side posts and on the upper doorposts of the house wherein they shall eat it. And they shall eat the flesh that in that night, roast with fire and unleavened bread, and with bitter herbs they shall eat it. Eat not of it raw, nor sodden at all with water, but roast with fire, his head with his legs, and with the
Pertinent.
pertinence thereof. That's pure tense. Anyway, I don't know what that
Oh,
is.
Puritans. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Okay.
And you shall let nothing of it remain until the morning, and that which remaineth of it until the morning ye shall burn with fire.
Okay. Verse 11 to 20.
That's me.
Okay.
All right. This is how you shall eat it: with your loins girded, your shoes on your feet, and your staff in your hand, and you shall eat it in haste. It is Yahuwah's Pesach. For I will go through the land of Mitzrayim in that night, and I will strike all the firstborn in the land of Mitzrayim, both man and animal. Against all the gods of Mitzrayim I will execute judgments, for I am Yahuwah. The blood shall be to you for a token on the houses where you are. For when I see the blood, I will pass over you, and there shall no plague be on you to destroy you when I strike the land of Mitzrayim. This day shall be to you for a memorial, and you shall keep it as a feast unto Yahuwah throughout your generations. You shall keep it a feast by an ordinance forever. 7 days shall you eat matzah, or unleavened bread. Even the first day you shall put away yeast out of your houses. For whosoever eats unleavened bread from the first day until the seventh, that soul shall be cut off from Yasharal. In the first day there shall be to you a holy convocation, and in the seventh day a holy convocation. No matter of work shall be done in them, except that which every man must eat, that only may be done by you. You shall observe the feast of unleavened bread, for in the same day have I brought your hosts out of the land of Mitzrayim. Therefore shall you observe this day throughout your generations by an ordinance forever. In the first month, on the 14th day of the month at evening, ye shall eat unleavened bread until the 21st day of the month at evening. 7 days there shall be no yeast found in your houses. For whosoever eats that which is leavened, that soul shall be cut off from the congregation of Yasharal, whether he be a foreigner or one who is born in the land. Ye shall eat nothing leavened. In all your habitations you shall eat unleavened bread.
All right, 21 to 30.
Then Moshe called for all the elders of Yasharal and said unto them, Draw out and take you a lamb according to your families, and kill the Passover. And you should take a bunch of hyssop and dip it in the blood that it is the basin, and strike the lintel and the two side posts with the blood that is the basin, and none of you shall go out of the door of his house until the morning. For Abba Yahuwah will pass through and smite the Egyptians, and when he seeth the blood upon the lintel and upon the two sides posts, Abba Yahuwah will pass over the door, and will not suffer the destroyer to come in unto you, unto your houses to smite you. And you shall observe this thing for an ordinance in thee and to the sons forever. It shall come to pass when you be come to the land where Abba Yahuwah will give you, according to he had promised, that he shall keep this service. And it shall come to pass when your children shall say unto you, What meaneth ye by this service? That you should say, It is the sacrifice of Abba Yahuwah's Passover, who passed over the houses of the children of Yasharal in Mesmarim, when he smote the Egyptians and delivered the houses and the people bowed their heads and worshipped. And the children of Yasharal went away and did as Abba Yahuwah had commanded Moshe and Aaron. So did they. And it came to pass that at midnight Abba Yahuwah smote all the firstborn in the land of Mesmarim, from the firstborn of Pharaoh that sat on his throne, and the firstborn of the captive that was in the dungeons, and all the firstborn of cattle. And Pharaoh rose up in the night, he and all his servants and all the Egyptians, and there was a great cry in Mesmarim, for there was not a house where there was not one dead.
And he called for Moshe and Aaron by night and said, Rise up and get ye forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel, and go and serve Yahuwah as you have said. Also take your flocks and your herds as you have said, and be gone, and bless me also. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for they said, we be all dead men. And all the people had took their dough before it was leavened, and their kneading troughs, their kneading troughs being bound up in their clothes upon their shoulders. And the children of Israel did according to the words of Moshe, and they borrowed of the Egyptians jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment. And Yahuwah had given the people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, so that they had lent unto them such things as they required. And they spoiled the Egyptians. And the children of Israel had journeyed from Ramesses to Succoth, about 600,000 on foot, that were men, besides children. And a mixed multitude had went up also with them, and the flocks and herds, even very much cattle. And they baked unleavened unleavened cakes of dough, which they had brought forth out of Egypt, for it was not leavened, because they were thrust out of Egypt and could not tarry, neither had they prepared themselves any victuals. Now, the sojourner of the children of Israel who dwelt in Egypt was 430 years. And it came to pass at the end of the 430 years, even the selfsame day, it came to pass that all the hosts of Yahuwah had went out of the land of Egypt. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. So as we can see, Ms. Bakar, we can see in this Passover feast, the Passover feast is actually for us to take the blood, the token, which, him shedding the blood of his only begotten son is a token to us, because it's nothing that we did to earn it. It's nothing that we did to deserve it. It's a token to us to cover us, from these different plagues, and also to cover us and to protect us and guide us from all of the things that are going to happen, even in the future, from the things that are going to come, and also the things that are current. So we have to keep that blood of Yahusha covering our minds and covering our actions, so that entryway of the doorpost, the top lintel is a representation of your forehead. It's the top of your body, and the two side posts is your hands, which is your actions. Or you can coordinate your legs, it'll be your actions and your movement. All right. Can I get some
again?
You said what happened, sis?
Can you just say what you said again?
Oh man. Okay, so what part did you miss?
Just how we were associating actions with body parts and stuff.
Oh, no. When I was just giving the understanding of like the two, right, the doorway, right? The doorway has a header, which is over the doorway, and the header, what's the head of our body? Our head, of course, which would be our minds, right? And then the two side posts are like representation of your actions and your movement. So the blood of Yahusha should cover, or that token should cover, our thoughts and our movements.
Oh,
right? Because the only way we can sin is through what? Thought, word, and
deed.
Okay.
And you said the side posts are like arms? The arms?
Is your movement, because your arms and your legs go together. So you would just think about your movement, what you do, and
Right. Okay.
right? Because we can be guilty by association, can't we?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thanks.
No problem. All right, so we have chapter 13, verse 1 to 18. Can I get a reader? Can I get a reader? You want one, sis? You got it?
Oh, okay. I can read it.
You got it?
Yep.
Okay.
And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn, whosoever openeth the womb among the children of Yasharal, both man and beast. It is mine. And Moshe said unto the people, Remember this day, in which ye came out from Mizraim, out of the house of bondage. For my strength of hand, Yahuwah brought you out from this place. There shall no leavened bread be eaten. This day came ye out in the month of Abib. And it shall be when Yahuwah shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, which he sware unto thy fathers to give thee, a land flowing with milk and honey, that thou shalt keep this service in this month. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, and in the seventh day shall be a feast unto Yahuwah. Unleavened bread shall be eaten 7 days, and there shall no leavened bread be seen with thee, neither shall there be leaven seen in thee with thee in all thy quarters. And thou shalt show thy son in that day, saying, This is done because of that which Yahuwah did unto me when I came forth out of Mizraim. And it shall be for a sign unto thee, unto thine hand, for a memorial between thine eyes, that that Yahuwah's law may be in thy mouth. For the strong hand hath Yahuwah brought thee out of Mizraim. Thou shalt therefore keep this ordinance in his season from year to year. And it shall be when Yahuwah shall bring thee into the land of the Canaanites, as he sware unto thee and to thy fathers, and shall give it thee. Thou shalt that thou shalt set apart unto Yahuwah all that openeth the matrix, and every firstling that cometh out of a beast which thou hast, and the male shall be Yahuwah's, and every firstling of an ass thou shalt redeem with a lamb. And if thou wilt not redeem it, then thou shalt break his neck, and all the firstborn of man among thy children shalt thou redeem. And it shall be when thy son asketh thee in time to come, saying, What is this? That thou shalt say unto him, By strength of hand of Yahuwah, uh, by strength of hand, Yahuwah brought us out of Egypt, out of Mizraim from the house of bondage. And it came to pass when Yahuwah would hardly let us go, when Pharaoh, sorry. And it came to pass when Pharaoh would hardly let us go, that Yahuwah slew all the firstborn in the land of Mizraim, both the firstborn of man and the firstborn of beast. Therefore I sacrificed to Yahuwah all that openeth the matrix, both males, but all the firstborn of my children I redeem. And it shall be for a token upon thine hand, and for frontlets between thy eyes. For by strength of hand Yahuwah brought us forth out of Mizraim. And it shall come to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, that Elohim led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near. For Elohim said, Yahuwah said, lest peradventure the people repent when they see war, and they return to Mizraim. But Yahuwah led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. And the children of Yasharal went up harnessed out of the land of Mizraim. And
All right,
Moshe, I didn't know where'd you say to stop?
to 18, but you can go ahead and read down to 22.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can read down to 22.
And Moshe took the bones of Joseph with him, for he had straitly sworn the children of Yasharal, saying, Elohim will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones away hence with you. And they took their journey from Succoth and encamped in Etham in the edge of the wilderness. And Yahuwah went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night. He took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people.
Hallelujah. All right, so in here you could see the same thing that happened with Abraham, right? Where he had to go sacrifice Isaac, and Yahuwah had provided a token, a ram in the bush. Then you see them having a sacrifice, a lamb without blemish, to keep them covered and keep their household covered, to protect their firstborn, right? And those who didn't sacrifice lost their firstborn of those who sat on Pharaoh's throne, to firstborn of helplings and so on and so forth, livestock as well. And you see that the children of Israel now, we had to give a sacrifice to Yahuwah as a token for our firstborn. And then he takes and gives us a token by the sacrifice of his firstborn with Yahusha. It's just amazing, man. It's just amazing. You got anything to Kimya?
No, I was gonna say that it was a life for a life, right?
Yeah. Eye
Um,
for eye, tooth for tooth. Yeah. Life for life. Yep.
life for a life. That's what
That's the
happened.
law. Yep.
Yeah. So he just incorporated the law into all of this.
Indeed. Indeed. All righty. So let's go ahead and move forward. All right. Now, what should we expect to receive? Now, what I'm going to do is this PDF will be sent out to everybody. Okay. I don't think that I'm going to go through all of these different scriptures just for time's sake, but we will go through some of them. Okay. What should we expect to receive at Pesach? Because every time that we meet with Yahuwah, anytime there's a visitation, there should be an expectation. Right. And the expectation doesn't have to be anything physical. It could be something that you're looking for Yahuwah to do spiritually for you, emotionally, maybe something that you're looking for. But, in the visitation, you should be looking to receive something. Anybody on what you should be looking to receive?
No, I was looking at the opposite. I was looking at what Yahuwah is looking to receive from you.
Oh,
Because
definitely.
there are 3 times a year that we have to appear before him, right?
Right.
And when you have to appear before somebody, you have to appear before them for a reason, so they can take a look at you, so they can look at you, right?
Inspect you.
Inspect you, right? It's an
Uh-huh.
inspection. So I was kind of looking at it as this is one of the 3 times a year that we have to appear before him to be inspected.
Mm. Mm. That's a good one. That's a good one.
I
So
would
now, are we going to pass inspection
Yeah.
or not? So we have to be, yes, he's going to give us things and things are going to come to us, but we have to prepare to be inspected.
Right. Behold, I come swiftly, and my reward is what? With me.
With
So,
me.
right. So you get whatever reward that you get from your inspection, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
I've
You got
just
something, sis?
yeah, I've just been, asking the Most High just for a closer walk with him to to draw me to himself, and that to me is a gift from him. The fact that he called us out of darkness into his marvelous light is a gift. It's not something to be taken for granted or taken lightly. But even in that, in receiving that gift from him, the giving of my whole self to him is something else that I want. I don't want to be really so concerned with the cares of the world, which I have been, a lot lately. Just in having to move out of my house and all that went along with that is overwhelming. It was just so much. And I just really want to draw closer. I mean, we are in a time where that no one's ever been before, where we can see the coming, we can see the second coming, and all the events shaping up, the eclipse that's going to happen, on April 8th, and what that means. And it's just so much going on, and we are so blessed to be able to see all this and to witness it, and even to have the the foresight to know what it, some of what it means. Some people are looking forward to this. They're buying the glasses, they're doing all these things just for this event that's going to happen, not knowing that the judgment of Yah is upon us, is upon the world, and not knowing that they need to be in a certain place, in a place of repentance. And I just, that's just basically what I'm feeling about this time.
Okay. All right. Come on. All right. So Not just like Nikimia said, not just something that you could receive, but also you preparing to give something, right?
That's
Um,
also
go ahead up.
that's also like with, Kenya and Chalayo. It's like are we still doing like what Yahushua said? Are we still keeping the Passover? So we're presenting ourselves at these feasts, you know, as an inspection, but also are we still keeping it, or are we going back with the drunkards? Because we say that Yahushua or the Most High are delayed his coming. So it's like like presenting yourself towards him to see if you still actually doing, you keeping the feast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Hallelujah. All right. So what we should be expecting, not only I'm going to put that in here in this PDF too, inspection. That's going to be the number one on the top of the list. What you should be looking to give and receive. It's a good one. Because this Pesach is about giving, because you have to give obedience, you have to give yourself wholly, you have to give yourself, in spirit and in truth. And if you're not in spirit and in truth, then how could you even be close to him? All right, so visitation, acknowledgement of our afflictions, and knowing our sorrows. All right. Exodus 3, verse 2-7, where Yahuwah had met with Moshe and told him that he understood what was going on with us and what our sorrows were. And, he've heard of our afflictions and everything that's going on with us. Could I get someone to read Hebrews 4:15 for me?
Oh, I love Hebrews. It's my book. For what?
4:15.
Excuse me. It reads, "For we have not an high priest, which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted, like as we are, yet without sin."
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Pray that regularly.
All right. So the next would be new beginning. And Exodus 12 goes into, during this Pesach, he gave us a new month, and this was the beginning of months. It was the beginning of a new reprieve, a new way, a new lifestyle, a new everything, a change, and this change had to be according to the obedience. The only way that you were made it through the Passover is you had to be what? Obedient. So your new changes comes with your obedience. Come.
Okay.
Okay. So can I get somebody to read 2 Corinthians 5:17?
Somebody got it, or you want me to read it?
Can you read it, sis?
Got it. "Therefore, if any man be in Hamashiach, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new."
All right. So old things are passed away, all things become new. All right. The next is favor and increase. And Exodus 32, Exodus 3, we can see that Yahuwah had already foretold Moshe that he's gonna allow Israel favor with the Egyptians, that they'll spoil the Egyptians and take all that they need. And 12, we can see him providing them with all the silver, the gold, the raiment, providing them with all the livestock, cattle, everything they needed to get up out of there. They got up out of there with everything that they needed to spoil the Egyptians completely. Healing. With healing, Exodus 4 and verse 6. Exodus 4 and verse 6 says that Yahuwah has said furthermore to him, put now thy hand into thy bosom, and put thy hand, and he put his hand into his bosom, and then he took his hand out of his bosom, and his hand, and behold, his hands was leprous as snow. So Yahuwah was showing him, even with something like leprosy, you can put it in your. He's gonna show you that it's me, because I'm gonna change your skin from one thing that can, that's killing people. You can see it, and then you put it back, and now you're healed and you're back to normal. So those healing comes also with this too, because you got to think about the children of Israel. Their mental capacity was healed when, from going through all of the stress, all of the hardships and all of that stuff. And now this is just like, whew, a load off. I'm free. We kicked out the self-day. We moving. Everybody on the move. You know. Let's see. Destiny helpers is if we look at where in Exodus 4, we look at when Yahuwah sent Aaron to help Moshe, because Moshe was talking about how he could speak. He was doubting everything about himself. No matter, Yahuwah made the mouth, made the eyes, made the flesh, made man, Moshe still wasn't trying to hear it. He was only looking at his inabilities, right? What he could not do, or he felt like he wasn't able to do. But Moshe, Yahuwah set it up to where his brother came, boom, okay, I'm gonna make you a god. I'm gonna go ahead and make Aaron your mouthpiece, so you will be a god. Aaron will be your prophet. He'll be the one to proclaim this thing. Everything that I say, you say to him, and he say to Pharaoh. Now, no problem, right? So he just, sent them that destiny helper, and also sent the children of Israel, Moshe and Aaron, so that he could go and be a mediator between them and Pharaoh, and help get this process moved along for them to get out of there. So it helped the children of Israel destiny as well. All right. Divine assistance and separation and restoration. The divine assistance is Yahuwah came through. He remembered his covenant, and he started to work on signs and wonders, and help the children of Israel out of their situation from people trying to overcome them. The separation, as you've seen, where he had put a separation in between the children of Israel, in between the land of Egypt and the land of Goshen. So
Yes, he did.
Right. So there was a separation between the land of Israel and the land of Goshen. Right. And the restoration we see at the end, because the children of Israel was restored from their calamities, from their downfalls, everything that was going on after Joseph died, all of that calamity, all of the plots, the plans, the deceptions to get over on them and utilize them, because they're more than us, and now we're going to manipulate them into making sure that we can get our work power, our work done. We can get these things accomplished. Yahuwah went ahead and just restored them, removed them from the issue, and restored them restore them back to his covenant. Let me say that. Power, authority, and dominion. We can see. You got anything, Nikimya?
Yeah, this is kind of off beaten track, but I was just thinking about something like Yahuwah used Moshe, right? Moshe was slow of speech, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to the average person looking on, Moshe was deemed to be probably less intelligent than other folks, right? Because of his slow speech.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Yahuwah used that person, right, to rescue a whole nation.
Right.
So the man that he chose, see, and this is man, this is good. The man that he chose, and this even goes to Dawid, it goes to when
David.
Samuel chose him. The man he chose is not the man that you think. And that's the key right there, is people are looking for these things, and they're looking in the wrong place, and they're looking for these outward appearance, and they're not looking for what the one that Yahoo is working on. And it's just important. Like, this whole thing shows us that Man, he didn't pick the best, the tallest, the brightest. He picked somebody that had a disability. Let's be honest. Moses had a disability. He
Right.
Mm.
picked a man that had a disability and he used him beyond what anyone could ever think that he could use that man.
And
And
Mm.
that's
I
just
think
Listen,
like
we
can I say something?
that's yeah.
It's on what
Go ahead.
Kimmy. I just gotta add it on. If you think about it, there was only one that was without blemish, and that was Yahusha. All the rest of us do.
n- no, but what I'm saying is how the other people viewed Moses, right? When
Mhm.
you see somebody that speaks slowly, right? You automatically in your mind make an assumption about that person, right? You would make an assumption, oh well, they're probably not as smart as me or as intelligent as me. Yes, I know that the Yahusha is the only one without blemish. Agreed, agreed.
No, no,
But
no.
when
Can I say this? Because I think I'm on the same track. I was just trying to explain that
okay, go ahead, go
we
ahead.
all of us, yeah, like the person that he would choose would be somebody like us.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's what I'm getting at.
At
All
the
right, so that's where I'm getting to. So
yeah,
I'm
yeah. That's
getting to
what
Misfit.
that point is that people are looking for this 6'8" cut guy that it no faults and no, they're looking for this person to lead them, and I'm saying that person doesn't exist, and that's not who Yahuwah is looking for.
A high
Like
value,
David,
Go
like
ahead.
David, for example.
What'd you say,
Right.
sis?
Moses, oh, go
high,
ahead. I'm
high,
sorry.
high value man.
Right.
If
Yeah,
you
I mean,
know what I'm saying.
oh, okay.
That was
Yeah, like
that whole thing with a guy who ended up getting dying. Um, I forgot his name now, but go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, I was saying, well, like David. No one wanted to pick David because he was small, he was little, but
Right.
he
Right.
was the only one that was willing to go out there and fight Goliath.
Right.
Everybody's probably like laughing at him, like, "Oh, look at this little one. What is he gonna do? Ha 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 ha!
and,
Ha.
and,
You
and
sent a
think
child
about,
to his death."
right, think about Elijah, right? Elijah probably, he was bald headed. He probably wasn't, really great to look on. And even in Isaiah, where it talks about Yahusha, he
Yeah.
probably wasn't
Yeah,
great to look upon.
Yeah.
He
Exactly.
wasn't great to look upon. See, and we got these preconceived notions of this is what the man looks like. This is what the man of Yah looks like. You gotta look like this. And that's why our those churches have people fooled because we're looking at the man of Yah. He's got to be this. He's got to be that. He's got to be able to sing. He's got to have that voice. He's got to be able to do those things, and we're missing it. And this whole story just shows us. It shows us who Yahoo is looking for, and he's not looking for the superstar. He's looking for that one that's humble and lowly, and then he's going to build that person up and show his might through that, because in our weakness his strength is perfected. And I think we all get off track sometimes.
Well, you know what
mhm,
it is that we do go off of what we see with our eyes. We still
right.
got that problem that Eve got, that
It's
Eve had.
wrong.
We have that problem that Eve got. It looks good. It looks appealing, but everything that looks appealing isn't appealing.
Mm.
Isn't
It's
really
not
what
good.
you want.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like, remember in the YouTube world, Kevin Samuels was putting out there like high value man, and every woman's looking for a high value man, and to be a high value woman, you have to make six figures, and he has to make multiple six figures and things like that. But that's just so shallow. It's just so not
Yeah,
what
that's not high value.
that is not of you. That's not what y'all even looks for.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what the
according to
world
the
looks for.
that's the world
Right.
standard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's dating. The world is looking for base. What is it based on? It's based on appearance. It's
Right.
Right.
based on I
Yeah.
look at that person, I'm attracted to that person, and now what can that person do for me? It's
Super.
Right.
not based on, and that's, man. This story, if
Yeah.
you look into this story, you can really see who the man of God is, who the man of Yah is, like, and who he uses and who he's talking to and who he's dealing with. It's good, man. It's good.
Yeah. That's the
You know,
good part.
which
That's
too,
why. That's why it tells you. Oh, go ahead and make.
I was just about to say with the two kings, and I know what you call it hit on this, Yosh hit on it, but uh it's like the Most High showed them two choices when he showed them King Saul, and King Saul was everything that we thought a king should be: tall, probably handsome, very
Mm-hmm.
strong. He can lead people, but in reality, he couldn't lead because he couldn't follow directions. You know,
Right.
he was willing to kill the people that the Most High told him to kill. He wasn't willing to do those things. He wasn't obedient.
He was a
Where
people pleaser.
David was
Exactly.
probably short in stature, but was willing to do all those things the Most High told him to do. That's all.
Indeed.
And also it goes back to this. The Most High does not choose the world what the world we deems as wise. He used the foolish things to confound the
Confound the
wise,
wisdom.
and
Right.
he used the weak things to confound the strong. So no
Right.
one can boast in the presence of the Most High.
Yeah,
Right.
even the images that we have of Yahusha, even though we're not supposed to have images, Josephus painted a picture of him that not look like the world standard of a guy. It said his beard was like underdeveloped, like
Mm-hmm.
how he had sparse hairs on his beard, and you know um I think I even said his back, he had like curvature of his spine. I don't know, I mean, because in a way that seems a little strange that for him to have those kind of imperfections, but I don't know, like we don't really know.
Right. So the script that says for us to be careful who we come in contact with, because in coming in contact with these people we have to be very aware, because we can be entertaining an angel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's been plenty of times where we as brothers done been out there, and there's been some people that came up to us that other people would look down on, and these people had some wisdom for you to hear.
Right.
Especially that when we was in Camden with the old man that told Yosha's bloodline.
Right.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah. We
Uh-huh.
don't. Yeah,
You have this too when he says the Most High don't look for what's on the outside, but what's on the inside.
what's on the inside?
So
See,
that
what's
thing
on the
that's
inside
Right.
really matters.
to you is what the Most High
Mm-hmm.
sees.
All right,
We have
Absolutely.
to value. You're right. We have to look at it how the Most High looks at it, and that's the whole point. Is we don't look at what the Most High looks at for leadership. We don't,
right,
and we don't look at um we're looking at different attributes. We need to start looking how the Most High looks.
right,
Right.
Tell me about this person's character. Tell me about how this person loves the Most High. Tell me about how this person serves the Most High. I,
mm-hmm,
I
Right.
don't care what they look. Tell me about those things.
right,
And if those
Or,
things are
or,
lining up, it's that fruit in the tree. If the fruit is lining up, then that's how you judge that
or
person.
look at it like this too, right? Before Moshe came to that mountain, he looked back at that fire. Moshe was going through some kind of affliction.
Well, he
So,
just was running from the
yeah,
right.
killer, the
so
dude.
He was in
there's
a defense
something to do
city.
with affliction too. You're going to be going through something. You're going to be going through something before you get what you think you're going to get or what you
Yeah,
asking
you have
for,
to.
or
Yeah.
you're not asking for it, but you're going through some kind of affliction. Somehow you keep being brought low.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm with my
Right.
heart to the people.
Yep.
All right, so let's get back on key, Ox. Let me finish just running through this real quick, because this is a good talk. This is.
Yeah.
So power, authority, and dominion, protection. Um, Also, we got reconciled as sons and daughters through the Passover, right? Through kinship, right? Because he went and told him, he said, Israel is my firstborn, right?
Mhm.
And our and that brought back our kinship, and he wanted us to come to the mount to do what? To worship him, right? So that's our priesthood. So it goes right back to that one word that that a lot of people mistaken, that word samar, right? And that word samar means a whole bunch. It means to praise, to worship, to rule, to lift up, it's to save life. It means a lot. Liberation, freedom, and pardon. The liberation came from they were liberated from the hands of the Egyptians. Their freedom came from their obedience, and their pardoning came from their obedience because they made it through. Because you got to think about it from the beginning, when the plague started, the signs started, there were people that were even when even those that were in the jails that were of Israelite, if they wasn't in their household covered under that blood, they died too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if they didn't go through obediently and get those things, then they died too. Also, the next thing that came out of this thing is he was a pillar of fire around about us to walk us through the night. So that shows that he is the light and the life, right? And we know that Yahusha is the light and the life of the world, right? Let me see. Let me go to Ephesians 5 real quick. Read Ephesians 5:7. All right. Uh, that's all right. 5:8. For for ye were sometimes darkness, but now ye are light in Yahuwah. So walk as children of light. For the fruit of the spirit is in all goodness and righteousness and truth. That pretty much sums up some of what Nakimia was talking about. The fruits, your fruits. Okay. So Passover is also about, you starting to bring them fruits, start to prepare them, start to dig around, prune, because there's a time where you're going to have to weigh the sheaf, afterwards. All righty. So let's move forward. All right. We just went through the Passover ordinances when we read through Exodus 12. So can I get someone to read Numbers chapter 9, verse 1 to 15?
I'll read it. Numbers chapter 9, verse 15.
Numbers 9, 1 to 15.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay. Khan,
Con?
uh, and Yahuwah spoke unto Moshe in the wilderness of Sinai in the first month of the second year after they were come out of the land of Egypt, saying, Let the children of Yasharal also keep the Passover at his appointed season, in the 14th day of this month at evening. Ye shall keep it in his appointed season according to all the rites of it, and according to all the ceremonies. Therefore shall ye keep it. And Moshe spoke unto the children of Yasharal that they should keep the Passover. And they kept the Passover on the 14th day of the first month at evening in the wilderness of Sinai, according to all that Yahuwah commanded Moshe. So did the children of Yasharal. And there were certain men who were defiled by the dead body of a man, that they could not keep the Passover on that day. And they came before Moshe, before Aaron on that day, and those men said unto him, We are defiled by the dead body of a man, which forth are we kept back, that we may not offer an offering of Yahuwah in his appointed season among the children of Yasharal. And Moshe said unto them, Stand still, and I will hear what Yahuwah will command concerning you. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Yasharal, saying, If any man of you or of your uh, posterity,
Posterity.
posterity, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any man of your posterity shall be unclean by reason of a dead body, or be a journey afar,
off, yet he shall keep the Passover unto Yahuwah 14 day. The 14th day of the second month at evening they shall keep it and eat it with unleavened bread and bitter herbs. They shall leave none of it unto the morning, nor break any bone of it, according to all the ordinance of the Passover. They shall keep it. But the man that is clean and is not in a journey and forbeareth to keep the Passover, even the same soul shall be cut off from among his people, because he brought not the offering of Yahuwah in his appointed season. That man shall bear his sin. And if any stranger shall sojourn among you and will keep the Passover unto Yahuwah according to the ordinances of the Passover and according to the manner thereof, so shall he do. Ye shall have one ordinances ordinance, both for the stranger and for him that was born into the land. And on the day that the tabernacle was reared up, the cloud covered the tabernacle, namely the tent of the testimony. And at evening there was upon the tabernacle as it were the appearance of fire unto the morning.
Okay. So as we can see, there's only several reasons that we can miss the Passover. And the one reason is that we are in a far journey, and the second reason is uncleanness. Whatever uncleanness that may be. If a woman's unclean in her personal preference, she will have to take the second one. And if you're unclean by a dead body, and so on and so forth. Nakimia, you got anything to add? Mick? Sis?
Nope.
Everybody
Nope.
good? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and do. Can I get somebody to read Deuteronomy chapter 16, verse 1 to 6? Okay. I guess I can.
Deuteronomy. What was that?
Chapter 16, verse 1 to 6. Yeah, I'll do it. All right. You ready? Con?
Hold up. Con.
All right. Observe the month of Abib and keep Passover unto Yahuwah your Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahuwah thy Elohim had brought thee forth out of Egypt by night. And thou shalt therefore sacrifice the Passover unto Yahuwah thy Elohim of the flock and the herd in the place that Yahuwah shall choose to place his name there. And thou shalt eat no leavened bread with it. 7 days thou shalt eat unleavened bread, and wherewith even the bread of thy affliction. For thou comest forth out of the land of Egypt in haste, that thou mayest remember the day when thou comest forth out of the land of Egypt all the days of thy life. And there should be no leavened bread seen with thee in all thy coasts 7 days, neither shall there anything share there anything of flesh which thou shalt sacrifice the first day at eve remain all night until the morning. And thou mayest not sacrifice the Passover within any of thy gates, which Yahuwah thy Elohim giveth thee, but at the place in which Yahuwah thy Elohim shall choose to place his name in, there thou shalt sacrifice the Passover at eve, at the going down of the sun, at the season that thou comest forth out of Egypt. Okay. So it gives us a specification of when, timing, and also it provides us with another piece of information that we can't sacrifice the Passover at our houses. It has to be the place where Yahuwah had chose. That's a good one. All right. Can I get someone to read? Now we're gonna move into Second Chronicles. Any Kim or Mick, any of y'all got anything to add into Deuteronomy 1-6? Yosh? No? Okay.
Nah.
All right. So let's move to Second Chronicles chapter 30. And we're gonna read from verse 1 to 18. Can I get a reader for that? And then we have 35, 1 to 16.
Second Chronicles what?
Second Chronicles chapter 30, verse 1 to 18.
I got that.
You said you got it?
Yep.
All right.
Chapter 30, verse 1 to 18. Con
Mm-hmm.
and Hezekiah sent to all Yahshua and Yehuda and wrote letters also to Ephraim, Manasseh, and they shall come to the house of Abba Yahuwah and Jerusalem to keep the Passover unto Yahuwah, the Alua of Yahshua. For the king has taken counsel, and his princes, and all the congregation of Jerusalem to keep the Passover in the second month. But they could not keep it at that time because the priests have not sanctified themselves sufficiently, neither has the people gathered themselves together to Jerusalem. And thou thing pleased the king of all the congregation. So they established a decree to make a proclamation throughout all Yahshua from Bathsheba even to Dan, that they shall come to keep the Passover unto Yahuwah the Alua of Yahshua for Jerusalem. For they have not done it in a long time in such a sort that it was written. So the post went with the letter from the king and his princes throughout all Yahshua and Yehuda, and according to the commandments of the king, saying, Ye children of Yahshua, turn again unto Yahuwah Yahuwah of Abraham, Isaac, and Yahshua, and he will return unto the remnant of you that are escaped out of the hand of the kings of Assyria. And be not ye like your fathers and like your brethren which trespass against Yahuwah, our Lord of our fathers, who therefore gave them up to desolation, as you see. Now be ye not stiff necked, as your fathers were, but yield yourself unto Yahuwah and enter into his sanctuary, which he has sanctified for him forever. And even Yahuwah, your Abba Yahuwah, your Lord, that has fierceness of his wrath may turn away from you. For if you turn again unto Yahuwah, your brethren and your children should find compassion before them that led them captive, so that they should come again unto the land where Yahuwah your allure is gracious and merciful and will not turn away his face from you if you return unto him. So the post passed from city to city through the countries of Ephraim, Manasseh, Zebulun, but they laughed them to scorn and mocked them. Nevertheless, Asher divers of Asher and Manasseh and Zebulun humbled themselves and came to Jerusalem. Also Yehuda, the hand of Allure was to give them one heart to do the commandments of the king of the princes by the word of Abba Yahuwah. And there assembled at Jerusalem much people to keep the feast of unleavened bread for the second month, a very great congregation. And they arose and took away the altars that were in Jerusalem, and all the altars of incense took they away and cast them into Brook Kidron. Then they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the second month, and the priests and the Levites were ashamed and sanctified themselves, and brought in burnt offerings unto the house of our Yahuwah. And they stood in their place after the manner according to the law of Moshe, the man of the law, The priest sprinkled the blood which they received of the hand of the Levites. For there were many in the congregation that were not sanctified. Therefore, the Levites had the charge of the killing of the Passover for every one that was not clean to sanctify them unto Abba Yahuwah. For the magnitude of the people, even many of Ephraim and Manasseh, Issachar, Zebulun, have not cleansed themselves, yet did they eat the Passover. Otherwise, there was written. But Hezekiah prayed for them, saying, the good Abba Yahuwah pardon everyone that prepare his heart to seek Yahuwah, Yahuwah, Allah of our fathers, who he be not cleansed according to the purification of the sanctuary. And Abba Yahuwah hearkened unto Hezekiah and healed the people.
All right. So in this part right here, we can see of this portion of the Passover that even if you have a certain type of uncleanness, according to the cleanness of the sanctuary, that prayers can go up for you, and people can supplicate for you to ask for Yahuwah to forgive you for whatsoever sins, iniquities, and transgressions you have. So there's still a sense of intercession for individuals to be able to take the Passover. And I think that that's important, is that sometimes we I think we go a little, we take I guess the uncleanness, our uncleanness, we take it a little too far, instead of just seeking the information. But Yahuwah said that that Hezekiah, these people were unclean according to the cleanness of the sanctuary, but Hezekiah was able to pray to Yahuwah, who pardons everyone that prepares his heart to seek him. So as long as your heart is prepared to seek him, and any uncleanness that you have, other than the ones that were specified that were not able to be not able to make it into the Passover, the second, and you had to go to the second one, you can be prayed for. Somebody can intercede for you and ask for Yahuwah to pardon you from, whatever uncleanness that you may have, whatever, sins, iniquities, whatever you have that you have going on. Someone can intercede for you,
Murder.
Go ahead, sir. What'd you say, Mick?
Well, there's two things that happened. First, Hezekiah was a priest. That's one. And the other thing is that we don't know if there was a first Passover, and a lot did it, but Hezekiah was thinking about his brothers, those ones that was not keeping it, that had a heart to keep it, but they was in captivity to the Assyrians. So Hezekiah was asking, well, should they not keep the Passover too? So he was thinking so much about his brethren too. And that's what I get from this whole entire thing, this love that everybody should keep the Passover, and bringing those who are still in darkness, or those ones who are in far countries that don't know about the Passover, but allowing them to see just how great this is and how
Right.
great Passover actually is.
So Hezekiah was a king that took on a idea of a priest. That's what you're saying?
I'm saying that I believe that Hezekiah was probably, well, a king, probably a priest. I don't know.
He
But what
was a
I'm saying is
right. I'm getting you. Go ahead.
yeah, he prayed for his people. He was thinking about other people besides himself, which
So
probably made him a great man.
right. So it's funny. It's funny you say that, because remember what I said, that it was when we got into the first part of the reconciliation, that Yahuwah had reconciled us back as sons and daughters, right? Through that blood. Remember, he said that Israel is my firstborn, and if you don't let my son go, I will slay your son, even your firstborn. That's the reconciliation. But also the script says, through the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach has Elohim reconciled us back unto himself as sons and daughters, kings and priests. Right.
Absolutely.
So
You know,
that same attribute, right? That's what I'm saying. So
yeah,
you
but
know,
you can also go with David. When David went to the temple and they asked him, have they ate hollow bread? And he said to them, no, but they had
mhm.
with women, and they went upstairs and got the Ephraim and gave it to David. So
Mhm.
all of these things play into it. Of these people who was right with Yah, that was able to pray for people who probably wasn't really should even come to the Passover, but yet he prayed for them, and the Father allowed it because of his mercy and because he's gracious.
And you know, the best thing about another thing that I see with the Passover is like, I know it's an ordinance that was given to us, but it's also a covering. You know, I see it as a, huh?
You're right about this.
Right. The blood covers us, right?
It's a time for you're right too with gifts, for being anointed, for giving jobs, for doing different things to
Right.
provide the kingdom. Yeah.
Okay. So we have matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to, for time and sake, let's go ahead and go to Ezra. Let's check out Ezra chapter 6, verse 19 and 20. No, you know what? I can't do that. We're gonna have I have to jeez. I have to do Second Chronicles 35. I can't skip it. This is the one with Josiah. So Second Chronicles 35, 1 to 16.
I'll read it. Khan.
Con, whenever you're ready. Everybody else good?
Moreover, Josiah kept the Passover unto Yahuwah in Jerusalem, and they killed the Passover on the 14th day of the first month. And he set the priests in their charges and encouraged them to do the service at the house of Yahuwah, and said unto the Levites that taught all Yasharal, which were holy unto Yahuwah, put the holy ark in the house which Solomon the son of David, king of Israel, did build. It shall not be a burden upon your shoulders. Serve now Yahuwah your Elohim and his people Israel, and prepare yourselves by the houses of your fathers after your courses, according to the writings of David, king of Israel, and according to the writing of Solomon his son, and stand in your holy place according to the divisions of the excuse me of the families of the fathers of your brethren, the people, and after the division of the families of the Levites. So kill the Passover and sanctify yourselves and prepare your brethren, that they may do according to the word of Yahuwah by the hands of Moses. And Josiah gave to the people of the flock lambs and kids, all for the Passover offerings, for all that were present, to the number of 30,000 and 3,000 bullocks. These were of the king's substance. And his princes gave willingly unto the people, to the priests and the Levites, Helkiah and Zechariah and Jehiel, rulers of the house of Elohim, gave unto the priests for the Passover offerings 2,600 small cattle and 300 oxen. Conaniah also, and Shemaiah and Nathaniel, his brethren, and Hashabiah, and Jeiel, and Jozabad, priest of the Levites, gave unto the Levites for Passover offerings 5,000 small cattle and 500 oxen. So the service was prepared, and the priests stood in their place, and the Levites in their courses, according to the king's commandment. And they killed the Passover, and the priests sprinkled the blood from their hands, and the Levites flayed them. And they removed the burnt offerings that they might give according to the divisions of the families of the people to offer unto Yahuwah, as it is written in the book of Moses. And so did they with the oxen. And they roasted the Passover with fire according to the ordinance. By the other holy offerings, sod they in pots, and in cauldrons, and in pans, and divided them speedily among all the people. And afterward they made ready for themselves for the priest, because the priests, the sons of Aaron, were busied in offering of burnt offerings and the fat until night. Therefore the Levites prepared for themselves and for the priests, the sons of Aaron, and the singers of sons of Asaph were in their place according to the commandment of David. And Asaph and Heman and Jeduthun, the king's seer, and the porters waited at every gate, that might not depart from they might not depart from their service. For their brethren, the Levites, prepared for them. So all the service of Yahuwah was prepared the same day to keep the Passover, and the offering and to offer burnt offerings upon the altar of Yahuwah, according to the commandments of King Josiah. And the children of Yasharal that were present kept Passover at that time, and the feast of unleavened bread 7 days. Tell me where am I stopping?
18.
And there was no Passover like that kept in Israel for the days of Samuel the prophet. From the days of Samuel the prophet, neither did all the kings of Israel keep such a Passover as Josiah kept, and the priest and the Levites and all Judah and Yasharal that were present, and the inhabitants of Jerusalem. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. All right. So here we see that we have to sanctify ourselves for the Passover. And also, not even just sanctify ourselves, but we also have to make sure our brothers are ready, because we have to also prepare our brethren. So we have to sanctify ourselves, make sure our brothers are good, and then we can move forward into the Passover. And another thing that I noticed in here was, if we notice that it talks about the Passover being roasted with fire according to the ordinance in verse 13, but it says the other holy offerings. So along with Yahusha, we have to also present ourselves as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable to Yahuwah, which is our reasonable service too. Khan?
Hey, can I throw something at you?
Of course you can.
All right, but I'm gonna go to Second Ezra, chapter 2, verse 38. It says, "Arise and stand. Behold, the number of those that are sealed at the feast of Abba Yahuwah." Just to go back on something that was said earlier about
Right.
gifts at these feasts.
Right.
But they're all gifts at his feet.
You got anything, Nikimya? Yosh?
No, just by the only thing I have is, could you imagine the sheer number of lambs that they were roasting,
Yes.
and they
Wow.
had to get rid of all of that before morning. That's
That's a
that
lot.
must have been quite yeah.
Yeah, I actually just noticed briefly that it was only the lamb that could not be sodden and
Yep.
cooked in water.
Yep.
You cannot boil it.
Nope.
And
Yep. Cannot boil it in water. Yes,
But you imagine if they was killing that kind of sheep, the magnitude of people that was actually there. Somebody had to consume all that meat.
something. Oh, go ahead, Mikhail. Sorry.
No, I was just saying somebody had to consume it.
Some,
Yeah.
There had to have been
There was people there.
thousands of people
Yeah, there was some people there.
there.
There was some people there.
it was something to go back to because it caught my eye, but I don't remember if this was a script. It said lamb or goat,
Right. That is true.
and that was a surprise to me. I don't recall that. Where was that at? Was it this scripture or another one? It wasn't here.
I think it could have been the other one. I already done flipped the page to Ezra.
Yeah. So they were able to eat goat
Mhm.
Over.
Hmm?
They were able to eat goat instead of lamb at the Passover. That was kind of, I wanted to look at that.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I believe that it's either or, because when you look at the Yahushua is also a scapegoat too,
Mm-hmm.
but he's the lamb
Yeah.
without blemish.
It says in the ordinance, 12:5, Exodus 12:5.
It's the lamb, right?
It just says, "Your lamb shall be without blemish, a male the first year. You shall take it out from the sheep or from the goat."
See, that's where it is.
Right. So that's Exodus, right? Exodus 12, or excuse me,
Exodus
Exodus
12:5. Exodus 12:5.
All right.
I don't ever remember that goat being an option.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right. So let me go ahead and read Ezra 6, 19 and 20 real quick, and then we'll go ahead and get ready to start concluding. All right. Ezra 6, verses 19 and 20. And the children of the captivity kept the Passover upon the 14th day of the first month. For the Levites and for the priests and the Levites were purified together, and all of them were pure, and killed the Passover for all the children of the captivity, and for their brethren and the priests, and for themselves. And I think the reason that I put this here is because a lot of people say that you cannot have Passover unless you're in the land. That's not, it's not actually true, because before the children of Israel got to Israel, they had Pesach where? In Goshen.
Yes, absolutely.
It started there. Then the next time around, it happened where? In the wilderness.
The first Passover was not in the land. So
It wasn't in the land. The second
I'm
one
going.
wasn't. Go ahead.
Can I just? And I don't want to confuse you.
No, I
What
know.
land?
I know that
You know
Goshen.
I'm gonna go.
I know where you're going. I know where
Okay.
you're
All
going.
right. All right. All right.
I know where you're going.
you
You
saying
know. Yeah, but go ahead. Go ahead.
What land was given to Abraham?
Canaan. So they was
No.
obviously in the land.
From where? From where to where?
From the river
Nile.
now. Oh yeah, that's the new one. From the river Nile all the way to Euphrates.
Yeah. So does that include the
Yeah,
land that we're talking about?
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. It does. Absolutely.
Just to throw that in there now.
No, absolutely.
Look at it technically.
Absolutely.
Technically, if they were
They
in
were in the
Goshen,
land.
they were in the land. Technically.
No, I get that. I get that. I'm not in
No,
refuting
I'm
that.
just saying. I'm just
Yeah,
saying as a matter of fact. I'm not disputing. I'm just saying as a matter of fact.
That's
yeah.
definitely good to point that.
Yeah, because even in Ezra, it says that the children of the captivity kept the Passover. So they was in captivity somewhere else. It's just, I just look at it like, from those perspectives. But I get you, Big Op. That's a hit right there, because a lot of
No,
people,
because I want to make sure when you're talking to folks, right?
right?
We're
They do
accurate with
understand
what we say.
exactly.
And if we say that first Passover
Wasn't
wasn't in the land, somebody
Technically,
can
it
dispute
was
with you and make you look like you don't know what you're talking
talking
about.
about
That's all
exactly.
I'm
No, I
saying.
get you. Yeah, I get you. I get you. I'm rocking with you. I'm rocking with you.
yeah.
I want to make sure that you have your ammunition. So if somebody come up against you and say, "Oh no, you wrong. That thing was in the,"
Yeah,
and you
and you
able,
have the ammunition to say, yeah, you're right.
yep, and you don't look like you don't know what you're talking about. Because sometimes you only get that one chance to talk to
Yeah,
folks.
yeah. Sometimes you only get that chance. Yeah, you're right about that one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now, renewed covenant. Can anybody give me a breakdown of what they believe the new renewed covenant is?
The new covenant is Jeremiah 31:31.
The renewed covenant is what people call the New Testament.
Oh, Dad, you are so cool.
Okay. You said you want to read that for me out?
Yep, I'll hold on. Give me a second. I'm gonna grab it.
All right.
This puppy. Stop barking. Why are you barking? I fed you already. All right, let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right, Jeremiah 31 to about 34. Behold, the days come, saith
Mm-hmm.
Yahuwah, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Yasharal and the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in the day that I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my
Mm-hmm.
covenant they break, although I was a husband unto them, saith Yahuwah. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel. After those days, saith Yahuwah, I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know Yahuwah, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, saith Yahuwah. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember it no more. There
Mm-hmm.
it is.
There it
That's,
go.
you know what? I went out ministering today, and two things happened. One guy knocked me down, and I didn't elaborate more on what I was saying, so he knocked me down. And you was right. I only had one chance with him, and he threw me in those. And there was a guy at the bus stop today asked me, "What is the covenant of God?" Those two things, and it was just answers, both of them.
Look, what did you tell them?
Which one about the covenant?
Yeah.
I forgot now, but it's basically about the things about Abraham. I just went through a whole lot of different things because I didn't
Okay.
really think about the the new covenant, and only to say that it's the same as the old because God don't change, and that's basically what I was getting at. But 131 actually breaks it down even better
Yeah.
because if you want to write it, he's actually writing his law in our hearts and souls
Yep.
and minds.
Yep.
So, but that answers the question. I won't make that same mistake twice.
Okay. So all right. So I'm gonna touch on right where you hit at, Nikimya. I'm gonna start off Isaiah 53, 1 to 12. Con?
Okay.
Who have believed our report, and whom has the arm of Yahuwah been revealed? For he shall grow up before him as a tender plant, and as a root out of the dry ground. And he had no form nor comeliness, and when we shall see him, there should be no beauty that we should desire him. He is despised and rejected of men, a man of sorrows, acquainted with grief, and we hid as it were our faces from him. He was despised, and we were esteemed, and we esteemed him not. Surely he had borne our griefs and carried our sorrows. Yet we did esteem him stricken and smitten of Elohim and afflicted, but he was wounded for our transgressions, and he was bruised for our iniquities, and the chastisements of our peace was upon him. And with his stripes we were healed. And all we were like sheep gone astray, and we have turned every one to his own way. And Yahuwah have laid on him the iniquities of us all. Uh, and he was oppressed and was not, and he was afflicted, and yet he opened not his mouth, and he is brought as a lamb to the slaughter, and as a sheep before the shears is dumb. So he opened not his mouth, and he was taken from prison and from judgment. And who shall declare his generations? For he was cut off out of the land of the living. For the transgressions of my people was he stricken. And he made his grave with the wicked and with the rich in his death, because he had done no violence, neither was there any deceit deceit in his mouth. Yet it pleased Yahuwah to bruise him, and he had put him to grief. And when thou shalt make his soul an offering for sin, and he shall see his seed, and he shall prolong his days, and the pleasure of Yahuwah shall prosper his hand, and he shall see of the travails, he shall see of the travails of his soul, and he shall be satisfied by his own knowledge. Shall my righteous servant justify many, for he shall bear their iniquities. Therefore I will divide him a portion with the great, and he shall divide the spoils with the strong, because he hath poured out his soul unto death, and he was numbered with the transgressors, and he bore the sins of many, and made intercession for the transgressors. Ooh, that's a tough one. Hallelujah. All praises for Yahusha, man. All praises. All right, so let me see. Could I get someone to read Hebrews 2, verse 9 to 11?
I got it.
9 to 11, then verse 14, and then verse 16.
Just before you read, I 6:30. I gotta run. So just so you know, I'll be jumping out at 6:30.
Say that again?
Yeah,
I
so
said
stop it.
6:30. I have to run. So just to let you know, I'll be jumping off at 6:30.
Yeah, I'm just gonna run through this script here because we only have, I'm gonna hit this one. I am going to hit 1 Corinthians 11 and the Passover meal. And Matthews. I'm gonna hit. I only like about 4 more scripts that I'm gonna go through.
So Hebrews what?
Hebrews chapter 2, verse 9 to 11,
Okay.
verse 14, and then verse 16.
But we see Yahusha, who is made a little lower than the angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he, by the grace of Elohim, should taste death for every man. For it became him for whom all things, and by whom all are all things, in bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through suffering. 11. For both he that sanctifieth and they who are sanctified are all of one, for
Mhm.
which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren. Excuse me.
Okay.
Then down.
To 14, and then verse 16.
Okay. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that hath the power of death, that is Hasatan. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Okay. All right. So now let's go ahead and hit Matthew's chapter 26, verses 17 to 20. And 26 to 29. Can I get somebody to read?
17 to 20.
Yeah, chapter 26, 17 to 20,
And then
and 26 to 29.
okay, now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahusha, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover? And he
Mhm.
said, go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, the master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. To 20, right? Okay. with my disciples. And the disciples did as Yeshua had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now, when the even was come, he sat down with the 12. Then down to
From
26.
26 to 29.
And as they were eating, Yahushua took bread and blessed it, and he brake it and gave it to the disciples and said, "Take, eat, this is my body." And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, "Drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the new covenant, New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom." And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives.
All right.
Oh, wait, you said 29.
Yeah, to 29. No, that's fine. You went to 30. There's no problem.
Okay.
Okay. So 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 23 to 29. And I'm going to read it. Are you ready? For I have received of Yahuwah that which also I deliver unto you, that Adonai Yahusha, the same night in which he was betrayed, took bread, and then he had gave thanks and braked it, saying, "Take, eat. This is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me." And after the same manner also he took the cup, and when he had supped, saying, "This cup is the new covenant, the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as oft as ye drink it in remembrance of me. For as often as ye eat this bread and drink this cup, ye do show you Adonai's death until he come. Therefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of Yahuwah unworthily, and shall be guilty of the body and of the blood of Yahusha. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of the bread and drink of the cup. For he that eateth and drinketh unworthy, eateth and drinketh damnation unto himself. Not discerning the discerning Adonai's body. Okay. So the ordinance of the new covenant, or the renewed covenant, is the participation in Yahusha. Participation in the blood and the body. All right. So which one else? And that's the ordinance of the Passover meal. Let me see. The order renewed. Can I get someone to read John 5:24? And then I will hit Hebrews 7, 1 to 22.
5:24 says, "Verily,
I'll do John.
that hath my word." What was that?
12:24. Just gets.
All right, you got John 24?
Yeah.
I got it. Oh, okay. Go ahead, Clea.
Oh, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, with on him that sent me, hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from.
You kind of broke up, sis.
I did? Oh, okay, I'll read it again. Verily, verily, I say unto you. Can you hear me now?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word and believeth on him that sent me hath everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life.
Okay. So the Passover through Yahusha is being passed over from death unto life. We got death with Adam, and now we have life with Yahusha.
Mhm.
All right, so Hebrews 7, I'm going to read through verse 1 to 22 real quick. It says, for this Melchizedek, the king of Salem, the priest of the Most High Elohim, who met Abraham returning from the slaughter of the kings and blessed him, who have also Abraham giving a tenth part of all first being by interpretation a king of righteousness, and after that also the king of Salem, which is also the king of peace, without father and without mother, without descent, having neither beginning of days nor end of life, but made like unto the son of Elohim, abideth a priesthood continually, not considering how great this man was, unto whom even the patriarch Abraham had given a tenth of the spoils. And verily, they that were of the sons of Levi, who received the office of the priesthood, have a commandment to take a tenth of the people according to the law. And this is of their brethren, through though they came out of the loins of Abraham. But he whose descent is not counted from them received tithes of Abraham and blessed him that he had the promise, and without all contradictions, and the less is blessed of the better. And here men received tithes, but there he receiveth them, of whom it is witness that he had lived. And as I may so say, Levi also, who received tithes, paid tithes in Abraham. For he also yet in the loins of his father, when Melchizedek met him. For therefore the perfection were by the Levitical priesthood, for under it people received the law, and with further need was there another priesthood should arise after the order of Melchizedek, not being called after the order of Aaron. For the priesthood being changed, there is made of a necessity a change also of the law. For he of whom things are spoken pertaining to another tribe, of no man which gave audience at the altar, for it was evident that our Adonai has sprang out of Judah, of which tribe Moses spake nothing concerning priesthood. It is yet far moved evident. It is yet far more evident for that after the similitude of Melchizedek there arose another priest, whom is made not after the laws of the carnal commandment, but after the power of endless life. For he testified, thou art a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. For there is verily a disannulling of the commandment gone forth for the weakness and unprofitableness thereof. For the law made nothing perfect, but bringing in of a better hope did, by which we draw nigh unto Elohim. And in such as not with an oath he was made a priest, for those priests were made without an oath, but this with an oath by him that said unto him, Adonai sweareth and will not repent, thou art a priest forever after the orders of Melchizedek. By so much was Yahusha made a surety of a better testament. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
All right. All right, Ms. Bakar, and that concludes The Passover lesson for this session. But we just I thank Yahuwah for everything that he's done, because he sure enough prepared us for this thing. He already forgave us for this thing and nailed all of our stuff to the stake with Yahusha. All we got to do is just take the victory with us and know we got it. And the more we continue to move into these ordinances and prepare ourselves and purge ourselves and, take the scriptures and utilize them for what they're meant to be used for, it's to make us better. It's the schoolmaster. Who can teach us better than Yahuwah himself? Khan? All right. Anybody else got anything to add before we close out? Because I know Nakimya has to log off in a bit. No? Okay, can we get someone to pray? Pray us out. Anyone? Anybody? Anybody want to close us out?
No one else will. I'll pray again.
Okay. You want to walk?
Yeah, I'm good. All right. Everybody ready?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Abba Yah, first and foremost, we thank you for your word, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, that you have given us your word, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, for your feast days, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, for the opportunity, Abba Yah, to serve you in spirit, Abba, and in truth, Abba Yah. We look forward, Abba Yah, to your visitation. We look forward, Abba Yah, to presenting ourselves before you, Abba Yah. Presenting ourselves, Abba Yah, without spot or wrinkle, Abba Yah, but presenting ourselves as that lamb, Abba Yah, presenting ourselves, Abba Yah, before you so we can be inspected, Abba Yah. Abba Yah, we thank you for the word. We thank you that the word went forth, Abba Yah. We thank you for understanding, Abba Yah. We thank you for wisdom and knowledge, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, that you are walking with us, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, that you haven't left us nor forsaken us, Abba Yah. We thank you for your rod and your staff, which comforts us, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, because you, Abba Yah, are the only wise Elohim, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, that you, Abba Yah, are walking with us, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, that you've given us your spirit, Abba Yah. You poured out, Abba Yah, your spirit upon us, Abba Yah. We thank you, Abba Yah, that you are our righteousness, Abba Yah. You are our strength, Abba Yah. You are our high tower, Abba Yah. And we thank you, Abba Yah. Abba Yah, we're just so thankful, Abba Yah, of your glory and your grace and your mercy, Abba Yah. You've given us so much, Abba. You've given us so much, Abba. You've shown us so much, Abba. You've walked with us, Abba. Yah. You've purged our mouths. You've purged our hearts, Abba. Yah. You've purged our minds, Abba. Yah. Abba, Yah, we are just thankful, Abba. Yah. We look forward, Abba, Yah, to your feast coming, your Moed, Abba. Yah. We look forward to your Moed, Abba. Yah. And Abba, Yah, I pray in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, Abba. Yah. Your Moed, Abba Yah, take precedence over this eclipse, Abba Yah. Your Moed, Abba Yah, be talked about more than the eclipse, Abba Yah. That your Moed, Abba Yah, will be the thing that we focus upon. We focus upon your appointed time, your Moed, Abba Yah. Focus upon that, Abba Yah. Focus upon what you did for our ancestors, for our forefathers, Abba Yah. Focus in on, Abba Yah, how you delivered us, Abba Yah, from bondage and captivity. Focus in, Abba Yah, how you healed us, Abba Yah, and cleansed us, Abba Yah. Focus in, Abba Yah, how you poured out those plagues, Abba Yah, on Egypt because they stood in opposition against us, Abba Yah. I pray, Abba Yah, that you would have us focusing on those things, Abba Yah, that were written aforetime, Abba Yah. You say in your word, Abba Yah, whatever things that were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we, through patience and comfort of the scripture, might have hope. Allow us to focus in on those things, Abba Yah, that give us hope, that give us imunah, Abba Yah. Allow us, Abba Yah, to be your faithful servants, Abba Yah. Allow us, Abba Yah, to purge our own houses, Abba Yah. Abba, I bless you, I honor you, and I lift you up, and I thank you, Abba Yah. And I say hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
amen.
Amen. All righty.
Hey, would you be able to get me the letter by Monday or?
I already sent it to y'all. I sent it to
Okay.
Yokai.
Okay.
Yokai